Hey everyone, you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. Check us out at that address for everything you need to know about our community, monthly giveaways, and nightly live streams. You can even support us on Patreon at patreon.com/4Player. And last but not least, you can catch the live recordings of these podcasts every single Thursday night on our Twitch channel. We hope to see you there. Enjoy. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 560. It is June 21st, 2018. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm your host this evening, and I am joined to my right by Bradley Simons.
The Rad Gamer.
Yeah. Nolan Hedstrom.
How's it going, everybody?
And Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
And this is our first podcast post E3. How's everybody feel? Glad to be...
Rested.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what prompted me to do it, but I made a shit ton of pre-orders after E3.
Damn.
And it's not, I normally don't.
I do that every year, but you know me.
The thing is, lately I found myself buying a couple of new games and like last minute, like, oh, I kind of actually do want to play this.
You know,
and then I'm like, damn, I paid fucking full price for this. If I would have pre-ordered it, I could have gotten it for like $15 less.
Well, here's what I do typically. And the reason I've been doing it a lot more lately is because it's Amazon's whole like 20% off thing looks like it's starting to flounder. Like, I might go the way...
That's kind of why
the way of the dodo here pretty soon.
That's one of the reasons I did it.
So, I'm like...
Get it while you can.
Anything I know I'm going to get day one, I'm trying to get the pre-order in to make sure I lock in the discounted rate.
It's similar to that. Like, I was on the edge of some games, like Just Cause 4 and Hitman.
Yeah.
But Green Man Gaming did a thing with 20% off. So, I got both of them from that. So, because I can get it on PC. So, I was like, oh, well, I definitely want to play both of those. And now I can day one. And plus, I got that Hitman Sniper...
yeah. Oh, yeah. I pre-ordered that too, and I forgot to look at that. Shit. I need to try that out. Anyways, like I said, this is our first show back from E3. We hope everybody enjoyed our content. If you have not listened to our E3 episodes, all 5 of our podcasts that we did while we were in LA, and one before LA, is up on the site at 4playernetwork.com, so check that out. It's also available on all of our podcast feed, whether it's iTunes, Google, whatever. You can find it there. I would encourage you to check them out. We saw and played a lot of things. We talked about all the announcements and shit that were made at all the major press conferences and whatnot, so there's some good stuff out there. Go check it out.
Hold on, real quick. Let me just respond to Smiley Alyssa. I understand No Man's
Sky do a live show here.
Was a piece of shit.
Hang on.
But the thing is...
That's not... That is a gross oversimplification.
Crispy, what word did I use in that?
Gross oversimplification.
I said was. It's gotten better.
Gross.
But...
oversimplification.
So the thing is, the reason it's okay for us to pre-order games is because we have to play them to let you know they're shit. I don't always... buy games day one, but generally I do when I do, because it's like, oh shit, I kind of want to talk about it on the podcast, and if I don't buy it, then I can't play it, then I can't talk about it.
And here's the thing:
pre-order, and they don't charge you till it's shipped.
Okay, guys, first of all, rein it back in for a second. I don't want to turn this into the great pre-order debate of 2018, because everyone has their own opinions about pre-ordering. Some people hate it, some people do it, some people love it, whatever. I don't want to get into that debate. We've had it before. If you don't want to pre-order stuff, that's cool.
Maybe we should revisit. I'm just kidding.
That's not, because we could literally argue about that for like hours, and I'd rather not. But anyways, this is our first show back from E3. We're gonna actually catch up in the second segment. We're gonna catch up with Brad and Nolan about stuff, because they did not go this year, and we're gonna talk with them about their opinion of the show, what they saw, answer any questions, whatever it may be. So we'll talk with them in the second segment. There's not a whole lot of news. We're in the middle of that like post E3 news lull, I think, right now.
So everyone's news balls are all dried up and shriveled.
Yeah,
not
no more
a whole
news
lot coming out. Yeah,
no more news. But in the first segment, we actually have quite a bit of stuff to talk about. Not a lot of it new per se, but we've been playing some games. Before we do that, though, I'll let everybody know I'm not going to read feedback, because our last regular show was well over a week ago, and we had 5 podcasts in between them. But I will say for next week, if you want to leave your opinions on anything we talk about tonight, respond to any comments or questions that are made on the show, please leave us a comment at 4playernetwork.com on the post for this episode, and we will read it and respond to it at the beginning of next week's episode. I also want to pimp a couple things. Discord.gg/4player honestly saved my ass during E3, because I was in line for 4 hours to play Resident Evil, and the only thing that kept me alive was y'all's attention and love and conversation.
And that green herb, am I right?
And that green fucking herb. Oh my god. That was
Fucking 420 blaze.
Oh my god.
Came by to entertain you for a few minutes.
He stopped.
I got the green from the dispensary.
Chris Davis did stop by to talk to me for about 2 minutes through the line.
Cannabis.
And I could see people looking at him like, this guy's not about to try and cut. I'll kill him. But yeah, being able to talk with the community while I was in that line. Literally, I didn't bring my Switch. I had nothing except for my phone. So having you guys in my pocket to be able to talk to while I was on that line saved my ass. It's a great place for the community. If you'd like to join, it's free. It's discord.gg/4player. I also want to take a moment to pimp the thing I just posted right before this podcast on the front page of 4playernetwork.com. I'm doing a series run for Resident Evil because, like I just said, I waited in line for 4 fucking hours to play Resident Evil 2 Remake. I'm so fucking excited for that.
Wait, if you're waiting for 2, how are you doing a series run?
I'm doing a series run. I'll be honest. I post the details for my series run. I'm going to do a kind of a retrospective thing on the site leading up to its release. But I'm starting with Resident Evil 0. But I honestly did cherry pick. Because Resident Evil's too big of a franchise, too many games, too many spin-offs.
Nick, you cherry-picked and you're playing Resident Evil 0.
Wait, what is that supposed
I'm
to mean?
saying you weren't
Dude,
very,
he was talking about playing 6.
I am going to
saw
play
it.
6. No, you want me to give you the rundown right now? I give you the rundown.
Wait, are you going to play 5?
Wait,
Yes.
Are you going to do it co-op?
Yes. I'm
With Robin?
potentially. She said she... The thing is,
Are you gonna let her play as Chris Redfield?
I don't know how Robin feels about tank controls. I don't think she's ever played a game with tank controls, so I'm not
tank
entirely
controls
sure.
aren't an
If
issue if
she-
the camera's behind your
If
shoulder.
she doesn't play it with you, I will. I've never played that game.
Okay, fair enough.
Do play with Nolan.
I mean, there's 5, 6, and Revelations 2, which are all on my list, are all co-op games. There's plenty of opportunities to play with Robin, to play with Nolan, whatever. But yes.
play Revelations 2 with Robin.
Or Resident Evil 6.
Oh, yeah. No one else wants to play that. Someone has to really like you to play
Robin,
that with
hold
you.
on,
Here's
Robin doesn't know how bad it is.
Here's
So
my
just
rundown.
bring her in and be like, Robin, let's play this game.
I would
It's
love
Resident
because she
Evil.
loves Resident Evil 7 because that's the only one she's ever touched. So that's all she knows of Resident Evil. I can't imagine.
Well, 6 is
like,
gonna be.
let's play 6 and just so she can see what the fuck came right before it.
Yeah.
So here's my rundown: Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, Resident Evil Code Veronica, Resident Evil 4, 5, 6, and Revelations 2.
What are you playing
So
for?
all of them but 2?
Well, first of all, I played 2 recently
2
with
Remake.
Brad for the mini Project M, and I'm building up to playing 2 again. I don't feel like I need to play it. And not to mention, of all the Resident Evil games in the past,
Which
I've
ones,
played that one
which
more than
ones did you
anything.
leave off?
Both Outbreak games, Dead Aim, like all the
God.
spin-offs.
Wait,
yeah,
wait.
some of those ain't real ones.
And Revelations 1, I'm not doing that one.
Which Resident Evil is the one with the zombies?
I'll fight you, Chris.
That
I'll
was
fight
just that
you.
was just in the movies.
Anyways,
Right, that was just a movie.
Nick, what are you playing 4 on?
PS4 probably.
Okay, I was just curious.
I am going to talk about Resident Evil 0 a little bit tonight. I did bring footage of that. I played about 4 or 5 hours of it again. And well, first of all, what the fuck do you mean, Brad? Fuck you. Why are you picking on me for playing 0? What's wrong with 0? That's right. We'll talk about it later. Anyways, if you want to find out all about my my series run and my retrospective, check out the site 4playernetwork.com. I got a little written thing up there about that. I would also like to know what everybody's favorite Resident Evil game is, just for shits and giggles.
4.
Leave a comment on that post at 4playernetwork.com. I would love to hear from you guys. Anyways, let's get to it. So many games to talk about tonight. Where the hell do you want to start? Brad,
Me?
would you like to talk about Octopath Traveler?
I would like to talk about, the question is, does anybody want to hear it?
I do.
No.
What do you mean? Why would nobody want to hear it? I want to hear it. I'm playing it.
So I played about 3 hours, almost.
Oh, so you hit
the 3 hours.
You
of
hit the
this
time
demo.
limit, or you're about to hit the time limit?
Yeah.
So first of all, we are talking about the new demo they put out on the Switch, which is they're calling the Prologue.
Yeah, it's you play from the start of the game. The save transfers over. They just put a 3 hour time limit on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems like you had some thoughts that you wanted to share.
Yeah, I did have some thoughts. I kind of wanted to get out some thoughts on this game.
Tell us your thoughts, Brad.
I'm a little worried about this one.
Ooh,
This is the team which made Bravely Default, right?
correct. So hold on. Let me preface this,
Yeah.
Brad. I have yet to play this demo.
Yeah.
Just because I've been playing other things. I did play the original demo and I did enjoy it. Now I will say it was very talky. and that was one of my downsides with the original demo that I played.
When you say talky, do you mean like it's
there
very
was a lot-
dialogue
there
heavy
was
and not a
very-
lot of
It was very dialogue heavy and
not a lot of flourish to keep it exciting?
correct. And like this is one of my actually big complaints lately in games, is a lot of them, the ones I've been playing, have been very dialogue heavy, and it's dialogue I don't care about. If it is well written dialogue, I am 100% there. I'm interested. I'm engaged. But if it is dialogue for the sake of having dialogue that seems to go in a circle and it's not very interesting, and like I find myself almost skipping sometimes. Is that what
That's
this
kind
is?
of the vibe I'm getting from this game,
That
and that's why I'm
sucks.
a little worried about it. So I think.
Did you feel that way about Bravely Default?
No.
Okay.
I think what initially attracted people to this game is its visual style.
Absolutely.
Oh, no,
It's a
100%.
fucking beautiful game.
Which it's a game that has a really nice, distinct look. I think the sprites themselves look really cool, and they do kind of capture that era in terms of sprite work.
And I like the way, and the world also looks really unique too. The way the sprites.
It looks like you're like
Vision
looking into like a
yeah.
diorama almost.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like to say this is a throwback to the greats of this genre, it is a little false.
Mm-hmm.
I think that outside of the visuals, I think the presentation is actually kind of a little budget. Compared to not just the greats from like the Super Nintendo era or whatever that it's trying to capture, but also like even compared to like Bravely Default, which was just way more alive in its like cutscenes. You know, people were moving around. The voice acting was really well done. It was alive. It was vibrant. It was well done. It felt like a big budget handheld title.
You know what this could.
This does not feel like a big budget $60 game. The dialogue isn't particularly well written. It's also very stilted. It doesn't flow. It's forcing you to hit that buttons. The voice acting really isn't that exceptional. I did 3 of the stories, and I found none of them really all that engaging or interesting. It's mostly just kind of honestly like tropes of the genre, but not even really all that well done.
I think this game really could have used like especially when you're in those like long like dialogue sequences, it really could have used some kind of like artistic flourish, like having like the character, like the animated character, like static characters on either side of the screen.
It feels so budget. What happens is you follow a waypoint that takes you to like the next story mission, and it fades to black. It fades in, and then it starts the cutscene, and then when it's done, you're done with the kind of the stilted dialogue. It kind of fades out again, and then you can move along. That seems like a really weak presentation for a game that has a lot of talking and stuff. But you know, honestly, and I will say, as far as positives, I think the combat system is sort of strong. You know, I only ever got 2 or 3 characters in battle. I think you can get up to 4. There's some smart ideas. I'm worried that it might go much beyond the break system, which is you discover an enemy's weakness, you exploit that weakness, and you can eventually you keep hitting them with that weakness, and it'll break
their defenses.
It'll break their defenses, which not only makes them weaker defensively, but it also kills that turn in battle.
Yes.
You combine that with the fact that you can kind of store up like bonus moves. You have this meter, this BP meter that fills up every turn, and when you decide to use that BP, you can kind of like juice up your abilities. So I want to take 3 attacks this one turn, right? Or
you can only do 2 and save the other one for later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so the way you combine those elements is like, okay, I know his weakness. You can see the next turn, the turn order. So you could see like, oh well, the enemy's gonna go first next turn, and he's gonna go this turn after my action. So I'm gonna go ahead and boost my attack now to kill his turn now, so I can try to maybe if you're exploiting the weaknesses, you have some control to kind of affect the flow of battle, like tactically, which is kind of interesting. My only problem is that beyond that weakness element to it, there's not much else to it. You have a lot of options for like the different like ways the different characters can do things in battles. Like the hunter can
Capture
enemies and then summon those enemies to attack in battle. But really,
But they have the cool thing about that,
a different
though,
weapon type.
The cool thing about that though is you can capture all these different like enemies that you fight, and each one of them has a very limited number of times you can use them.
Yeah.
So you can use that ability.
It's like kind of drawing out magic from Final Fantasy VIII. Almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like I can imagine when you have 3 different characters in a battle and they all have their own unique ability. Not to mention you can toggle back and forth between like weapon types in the middle of battle. So like the hunters can swap between bow and arrow and like her axe.
It seems strong.
This variety.
Hopefully, it kind of deepens beyond that. But my problems with this demo aren't the combat system. Like truth be told, if that stuff like deepens, I could be pretty satisfied from a gameplay perspective in battle. But the problem isn't just that I feel like the presentation and the story and the writing and the characterization is kind of weak and tropey. It's that it's the structure. So when you start this game, and this is the start of the game, you look on the map and there are 8, or you choose your starting character. There are 8 or 7 other icons because there's 8 characters, right? Sure. And they all have their picture and they have chapter 1 next to them, right? You walk to that place on the map, you find that character and you initiate their starting story. And once you do that, the character you're playing as disappears. It's like they're not even there. None of the cutscenes for that character, that person doesn't even exist.
Wait.
They're basically just a function in combat and moving around the world. And then once you get that character, they're in your party. So you go to another place on the map to get the next character, and you start that character's story. And those 2 characters you have, they're non-existent in any of the story cutscenes. When the cutscenes ends, they're there. They can join them in battle, but you walk to another point on the map and it triggers another story cutscene, and those 2 characters that aren't a part of their story, they disappear. And you have to go around, you have to get all 8 characters before you can progress the story. It is not the kind of thing where like, I just want to take these few characters and progress with the story, because as soon as I beat that chapter 1, and they put levels on it, recommended levels on it, Chapter 1 for that first character that I got, as soon as I beat that, on the map in the world appeared an icon with her face on it and recommended level 22, and it said Chapter 2. This is her Chapter 2 story. And then I beat it with the second character, who became recommended level 3, and I got that second character. Her Chapter 2 story mission appeared on the map and said recommended level 22. So Chapter 1 is getting all of these characters and with 0 interaction between any of the characters.
So to add to that, Brad, like the thing I originally thought when I heard there was 8 playable characters and stuff was I thought it was going to be similar to like a Dragon Age game where the characters would all have unique personalities and quirks and whatever, and then when you were doing this one mission with character A, characters B and C would be there and provide their own commentary and react differently.
They might. But it definitely doesn't do that in Chapter 1. What I'm praying is that once you get to Chapter 2, that all of a sudden the characters that you have will start interacting. But what scares the shit out of me is that Chapter 2 mission was still a single portrait for one character. And if I start Chapter 2 and it starts doing that shit again, where it's a continuation of that one character's story and the other characters disappear, I think I might be out. Because that's like horrifying pacing. Like the fact that like even getting all of those characters in Chapter 1 takes like quite a bit of time. It took me 3 hours just to do like 2.5 stories. Oh, wow. So even getting to Chapter 2 is going to take some time. And if Chapter 2 is the same way, it's a continuation of those personal stories. If I have to play 30 hours of this game before my characters start interacting with each other, like this is a failure of the genre.
That sounds like I completely understand that concern, because that would be fucking terrible. Yeah. But like it almost seems crazy that could be the case.
It does.
Like it seems insane that like if you wanted to tell 8 different stories about 8 individual characters that don't really have anything story-wise to do with one another, why would you make this game?
Yeah.
Like why would you make it a party-based RPG? You know, because that's like the whole fucking, you know, like the BioWare party RPGs like you were talking about, Nolan.
Yeah.
Like that's the bread and butter. Is like I want to see these 8 characters do their thing and have their story, but I want them to come together as like as a group. The group has to be part of that.
And
character,
I think they will.
Like,
my guess. By the way, I heard, even though I left the room, I did hear what you were saying. I mean, this is kind of a reach, I guess, but like a lot of their art for this game includes all the characters together.
Like the conceptual,
they fight together.
The concept art is like all of them around a table, like talking and shit. Like
I'm hoping.
Like it seems like the party is the central like philosophical focus of the game. So for them to present story like that the whole way through seems crazy.
Yeah.
I think it might get there, but I will say, based on the structure, I think there's already some severe pacing issues, even getting to chapter 2. And secondly, once they get there and they do start interacting with each other, and there is a main story thread that's pulling these people together, that needs to be fucking good. Yeah. Because from the early stories that I've experienced in this game so far are any reflective of the quality that even that main story thread is going to be, that they might not pull it off. Let me ask you, Nolan, you played that first demo, so
Correct.
you played as the dancer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every single,
Primrose.
like pretty much universally, and I've been reading the Reset Era thread, said she's by far the best starting story.
Really?
Yes.
Her starting story wasn't that great, though.
I mean, yeah,
It was okay.
Here's the thing: like, I can also very much see this game kind of falling into this weird category of that I think a lot of like retro JRPGs kind of fall into, that kind of rely on some kind of weird hook, but everything around it may not be as like. I'm trying to remember.
What's the so let's talk about that hook, because I think the one unique thing about this game, you know, outside of these different characters, and there's been games that have done different characters, sure, like, you know, like the Saga games or whatever, but it is these out of battle ability that each character has, right?
Yeah.
Like I played as the merchant, and what she can do is she can buy stuff from any NPC on the map, right? Or if you play as the dancer, she has the ability to like lure people with her dancing ability, or the hunter has the ability to challenge anybody to a battle, right?
Yeah.
So once you complete a couple of these story missions, or the intro story missions, you see side quests littered all over the map, right? You see NPCs with little side quest bubbles over their heads that pretty much all require you to use like one of these actions to initiate. But from what I've seen, each one, like I've seen characters like NPCs say, "Oh, I need you to guide me to this place so I can, you know, get this item," or whatever. It seemed really simple, and it seemed like it only required one of these actions. That is not nearly deep enough. Like those out of battle actions need to become more complex. They need to utilize multiple of the different characters' abilities, since you're always going to have them with you. And it needs to become more puzzle-like, because if it really is just pick the right character's ability to use on this NPC in this really simple way, even the side quests kind of fell in this game. So
I'm really hoping that by the time, my assumption and my hope is that once you do a chapter 1 for all these characters, the second chapter of the story continues forward with like all the characters together.
I fucking hope so, but all I'm saying is that icon on that map for a chapter 2 mission for the characters that beat their chapter 1 mission was a single portrait.
No, I know.
And the story from chapter 1 definitely wasn't like completed. It was like an origin story, but it didn't complete. So it has to go. It has to keep going. So, you know, my hope is that, like, I think this game can still rally and be really good. Might maybe just have a really slow first chapter if interacting starts happening a lot more. If the main story thread is compelling, and if the battle system gets deeper than what it's currently at. What I'm a little afraid of is that. Or what I'm observing is that people are really excited about this game. I think one of it has to do with it has a really like kind of unique, cool look to it.
Dude, I feel like the game is gonna
it's one of the few Switch exclusives this year, and people are putting a lot of hopes in this game, and I'm a little worried that they might fall into a little bit of an I Am Setsuna trap, which is something that people were really excited about. Because
I was 100% excited for I Am Setsuna. And the game ended up kind of being boring as shit.
which is what I'm
It
kind of
looks
worried
great.
about.
I mean,
It had great music. I listen to I Am Setsuna soundtrack all the time because it has good music.
I mean, they could just be being incredibly thorough,
I will say, compared to Bravely Default,
as far as their storytelling goes.
compared to Bravely Default, like this feels budget in comparison. Like take away like the unique visuals. I was watching cutscenes and story moments from Bravely Default, and it's like night and day.
No, I remember
that's one that felt very modern, but it kind of channeled what was great about the retro style RPGs that it was obviously throwing back to. This
And that game was beautiful
this looks
too,
kind
by
of
the
like
way.
faux retro. Like this is not indicative of like Final Fantasy VI, of Chrono Trigger. Like this feels more of like an NES a story presentation and writing. This feels more like Final Fantasy 3, not the 6, but actual Final Fantasy 3 in terms of story presentation. Maybe like a 4, but not as sophisticated as like some of the late SNES RPGs, and definitely not as like compelling as something like Suikoden, which had like rich scenes of like characters interacting with each other. This people are really high on this game, and I feel like nothing that the demo has presented should have instilled
justified it.
people with that amount of confidence.
Sure.
But
No, I see where you're coming from. I'm a little worried myself. I'm still gonna play it because we need to talk about it. We need to play more of it, and I'm definitely not gonna give up on it until I kind of get to a point where I realize this is not more than the demo presented.
Hey, this is me. This is I think this game's going to do fine. Obviously, it's probably going to sell because everyone's claiming they're already going to buy it. But I've seen threads like I literally saw a thread on titled, "Are there any other great JRPGs for the Switch besides Xenoblade 2 and Octopath Traveler?" And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I think the answer was no.
I think what that person meant was not great, was high profile.
Maybe.
Because this is, if nothing else, high profile. Because, like you said, it is one of the few
Yeah, it's
exclusives
high
coming.
profile and it's $60.
The
but
problem, Nick, is
feels a
high
little budget.
profile does not equal good.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
but
they
like,
maybe
like.
Like, see all
If
these
this
little
game-
orange bubbles?
If this
Those
game
are
is,
side quests.
if
that
this game
you
is what it
initiate with.
should be, what we would want it to be, the first 3 hours wouldn't be indicative. Like, wouldn't really be much of anything.
First 3 hours of a JRPG should still be like pretty compelling and strong for like setting a stage.
My opinion is some of my favorite JRPGs have amazing beginnings. Like that you get fucking hooked.
I think a lot of it though does kind of hinge upon the fact that they decided to go this route where they have 8 separate characters starting in different parts of the world, and maybe if their stories were being told simultaneously, and you can kind of get a hint of how they came together much earlier, it would be more compelling. But it's kind of they're doing the long play.
None of this
which is kind of unfortunate.
None of this is bad. I want to make that clear. Like I said, I think the combat system seems kind of strong. None of this is bad, but people's expectations are kind of through the roof for this thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'd say let's return to it when the game comes out, because I'm going to be playing it at the very least. I don't know if you're going to keep going with it past that point, but I intend to
rent it.
I intend to play a pretty good chunk of it at the very least. So we will return to that and talk about it more when the game comes out in July, right?
Yeah,
early to mid July,
like
somewhere around there. Now we've all kind of been playing some older stuff. Crispy, I don't
have anything.
Did you want to say anything about Valkyria Chronicles? I know you've been playing that, right?
No, not really.
You fell off?
Well, no,
you had.
I sat down and I had like one really good session with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Like, I haven't even gotten back to where I was when I dropped off the first time.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
And I had some stuff to say about the game. I talked about it with Brad, and like, I don't think anybody really sees kind of what I was. I don't know.
No, I completely no. I concede it. It is a bad way to rate mission performance.
No, I know, but it's just like
all I'm saying is don't let that bother you. The game is flawed, but it is great.
Cool.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it's just it's not even like. It's not even just like the way the game rates mission performance. It's that like the most efficient way to play the game is not the way that the game wants you to play it.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it seems weird that it's set up in such a way where like it values certain things that are like diametrically opposed to what they are trying to accomplish with the game design.
Yeah,
is the only thing I'm saying.
Yeah, that first game's wildly imbalanced.
And part of that is just like I'm still getting into it, and I kind of played it really casually the first time. This time I'm trying to like learn it better. Like I'm trying to learn like, you know, how do people play this game? Like how do the systems actually work? You know, what is optimal for this situation? What kind of squad setups do I need? And like the more of that I read, like the more kind of discouraged I get. It's just a little weird because like yeah, I mean, like when people are like breaking down the math of like, hey, I mean, it's really cool that these characters exist in the game, but like don't touch them, like, you know, like kind of thing.
Like I don't know what initiated you feeling the need to like read like the A rank.
What initiated it was the fact that like I remember it being a pretty dense game, and I remember taking no less than like an hour on any map I was playing. That's just like playing through like going.
You know, you could save in the middle, right?
I know. Yeah, okay. You can save whenever. Like I get that, but like it like I already went into it with the expectation of it being like an undertaking, so I didn't want to like waste my time basically. So I started just reading a little bit like here and there, like looking up forum posts and guides and just basically seeing how people talk about the game. And then like the more I started reading, the more like I felt like I had to read, and then the more I read, the more I was just like, oh, this game is just broken. Like, you know, it was kind of like where I was arriving to, which was discouraging because like I really do love the game. Like I really love it. I really love it from a lot of like surface detail, you know, kind of the out front presentation of it is fucking amazing. I love the characters, the story, the visual style, the production, like all that stuff, the same stuff that everybody loves.
It is the sum of its parts
and I
game.
Just don't
this is not a game that I play strategy games for systems all the time. This is not that kind of strategy game. This is like an awkward, ambitious, like attempt at taking your what you typically see from strategy RPGs from Japan, which are like, you know, their origins are on a grid, and it's like, you know, we're gonna try to turn this into something that looks and feels modern on a console, really, and their first attempt is awkward, it's imbalanced, it's borderline broken, but a game is something that is greater than the sum of its parts. Its strength is its presentation, its strength are its level design, the fact that like every single mission is like feels completely different than what you were doing last time, and those are its strength. It's not even that, like, it really isn't that dense of a game. Now, I think you can find FAQ for any game that treats it like that, but stay away from an FAQ until you get to that one mission. You will know what that mission is. You've been to that mission. Use that FAQ to get through that mission, and then never look at an FAQ again because you're not going to need it.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, I don't know. I was just getting really neurotic about it, you know, as I do sometimes. It's just a thing. It's
allowed.
You know, like when I really want to be into something and want to get into it, I want to kind of like check under the hood, basically, and like under the hood of this game is just kind of like crazy. Like it's just kind of like
it's a mess
really
in here.
weird. But it's because it's this beautiful kind of like fucking just like not entirely perfect, but like really inspired experiment. You know,
and everything in the game is
like
every part of the game's presentation and story, there is always like trying to distract you. Look over here.
I'm reading stuff
here.
about like the development of it too, and it's like they were still experimenting with it like right up before it went gold. You know, like they were still like they were encountering bugs that were just like completely changing the way they played the game and like inspiring new ideas that they wanted to put in the game, but they were like done making the game, so they couldn't add those in. So like some of those kind of like filtered down into later installments in the series, including 4. So like I guess I just wasn't really looking at it like that, you know.
I guess it's probably safe to assume that a lot of this will be ironed out for 4. Right?
Well, no, yeah. I mean, like as far as like balancing issues, like I'm sure they're not going to have the overpowered like orders that the first game had and stuff because they've done 3, you know, they've done 3 games now at this point, but it is kind of a carbon copy of that first game. If you are a person who wants to obsess over systems and play a game that's 3 times longer than that first game, that's what the second game is.
Yeah, and see,
don't do that with the first one.
That's the thing. Like, is like I'm not usually like a min-maxer per se, but like I kind of wanted to like when I went back to this one, I was so jazzed from like seeing 4 and everything that I was like, man, I'm gonna get my hands on this one, you know? I'm really gonna like get dirty on this one. And then like I start getting dirty and it's just like, man, maybe this just isn't the game to do that.
Man,
like I kind of broke it. Like,
yeah, you're having a Stone Award situation.
Yes, dude, that's what I didn't want to bring that up because I wasn't sure. I figured that argument was gonna be shot down. But that is exactly what happened to me with Bayonetta. Because I was playing Bayonetta and I was playing the way I thought it would encourage me to play it. I was having a ton of fun.
Crispy,
I was like doing everything super stylishly.
I don't know if you
and it was
listened
giving
to the
me Stone
podcast
Awards
back then, or this was a big fucking deal. When in Bayonetta, Nick constantly was getting Stone Awards.
I kept giving me Stone Awards, even when I thought I was doing amazing.
Well, yeah, but like the thing is, like it was so hard to convince them that it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It just kind of like every time you would do something cool and you'd be like, "That was amazing," it would just like completely take the wind out of your sails. It could be like, Stone Award.
And it's like it's so weird because like I'm trying to rationalize why I would be this way about the game. You know, like, oh no, I gotta play perfectly so I get more XP and I get more money to buy new and then you like look at the stats on like, oh, you can, if you play perfectly versus if you play just the way you want to, like maybe you won't hit that last research tier on like your scout guns or something like that, and it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't matter.
Like
there's only one really hard mission.
Yeah,
the rest you'll be fine.
Yeah. So,
but
it is still really good. I'm still trying. I'm pushing my way through. This week I've been kind of like readjusting back to, you know, after the week that I missed, you know, so I've been so like just kind of burnt out at the end of the days that I was like I played Trials Fusion or something like that. Something I didn't have to think about.
Something
at all.
you just literally can turn your brain off to and just go.
Yeah, but but I will be going back to Valkyria Chronicles probably from my stream on Sunday. So
cool beans. We'll check back in with you down the road about that. Nolan,
what up, Nick?
Do you have footage for this game?
I was going to capture some, but Chris Davis wouldn't let me on my computer.
Oh shit! Okay, well, you want to talk about it a little bit?
So
anyways?
I'm playing a 10-year-old game.
Okay.
2008.
And a 9-year-old game.
So yeah, well, hold on. Technically, I'm only playing a 9-year-old game. Technically, it's only a 9-year-old game.
It's like a 9-year-old framework for a 9-year-old.
Yeah. So anyway, I've been playing Fallout: A Tale of Two Wastelands, which is a mod that takes Fallout New Vegas and it shoves in all of Fallout 3 to make one world. So you can literally go from the Capital Wasteland to the Mojave
but
Desert.
But not seamlessly, right?
So you have to go get on a train. It takes you to the other one. But yeah.
I know. But that what he just said could be interpreted any number of ways.
Yeah. What's up, Brad?
You've talked about this before.
So hold on. So yes. So approximately 2 to 3 years ago, it was when I found out about this mod.
Yeah.
And I installed it. And I played it for about 45 minutes. And then that's as far as I got.
Like, whoa.
As of now, I'm probably about 10 hours into this one. Like, I'm not giving up this run.
So is this all stemming from, like, you're getting hyped for
Fallout
76?
Hype, and it's a fact of I haven't played either of these. I only played New Vegas once.
Yeah.
Fallout 3 I played like 3 times, but the last time I played it was like in 2010. And so, yes, there's definitely a hype for 76. And I just kind of wanted to get back into these worlds and experience some of the jank that's in there. And then I wanted to play them in this way because I say Tale of Two Wastelands just shoves them together, but that's not quite it. It does more than that. There's
also a lot of Dickens references.
Sure, yeah. So first of all, a lot of tweaks, a lot of modifications, a lot of little things here and there to make the game a little bit better. You start out in the Capital Wasteland, and they actually ramp up the difficulty.
Do the stories
No.
Is there any story at all, or is it just
it's the story of the games. Like, as soon as you go to the Mojave Desert, you wake up as the courier.
Courier?
Yeah, it just happens like
There's
that.
just like a door that goes between the two games.
Correct.
something.
It's a train.
Oh,
You
shit.
get on a train and it takes you. Yeah.
Right.
But when you go to
metaphor.
but when you go to Fallout 3's world, is the story
You're searching
shift
for your
and
dad.
oh my god, that's bizarre.
They actually upped the difficulty of New Vegas, mainly because you start in 3, so by the time you get there, you're already up higher leveled. And also they tweaked how some of the leveling works. When you get certain perks, when you level, the level cap is now 50. So there are a lot of different, like, you can get, by the time you're level 50, you got pretty much everything maxed out almost.
Another dumb question: does your character is it the same character essentially when you go from one to the other? So you carry over your progress from one to the next, even though they have different perks and.
Let me ask you.
No,
this.
they combine them. Like I said, like there's a lot of tweaks and stuff.
That's intense.
What is the motivation to hop around?
Or is it
just to do it? I don't know.
Is it? I mean, like, it's cool, but it's like, do you just like, well, I want to hang out in Vegas for a while, or is it like, oh, there's something I want from this game and I can bring it back over?
So I think one of the reasons is Fallout New Vegas tweaked a lot of things from 3, made things a lot bit better. It runs better, and so when you're playing 3, you're not playing Fallout 3. You're playing New Vegas with assets from 3 tacked onto it, so the game does run better. And also, I've now gotten a little more into modding, changing some things up. My weight limit's 1,000 pounds because fuck that. And also, my character runs at double speed because holy fuck, you run slow in that game.
Oh yeah,
Like, it is like frustratingly slow. I played it for maybe about an hour before I was like, I am done with this, and I ended up like throwing on a mod to make me run faster.
Well, you said you played about 10 hours. Is it like 10 hours of 3?
So yeah, I haven't been to the Mojave Desert yet, mainly because the difficulty of that area has been upped. So if I were to go there now and run into like a cazador or something like that, it would probably fuck me.
like literally
the giant bee,
the
giant
wasp
fly.
thing or whatever. Yeah, they were always
with those
shitty.
things?
But yeah, I'm probably going to go there pretty soon, actually. And for me, it was mainly just there's a lot of little things I forgot about Fallout 3 and New Vegas just because it's been so long since I played them. You know, characters you interact with, the small storylines, the whole storyline with the antagonizer and the mechanist. I completely forgot about that.
the antagonizer.
Yeah, and so just being able to see some of that again.
Man, that actually
Can you
sounds really
go
nice.
get Boone and just bring him into Fallout 3 and just have him snipe everything?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Report back to us next week.
Yeah, I will. Let me find out. I don't know if you can or
This
not.
actually sounds really cool for because every time I think about playing like an older Fallout, I'm always like I get that nostalgic yearning to play Fallout, but I'm like, which one? Because they're both nostalgic for two totally different reasons.
I picked up 4 a little bit. When we
SMG
came back.
says you.
Well, I'm gonna go back and play 4 just because I've never finished it.
Never.
You can bring companions between. That's cool.
Oh,
Well,
that's
so
cool.
here's one thing. This
Go
is
get Lydia from Skyrim.
exactly. Here's where this stemmed from, Brad. When you were asking what. So, I've never played the original Fallout. So I booted it up, and I played it for 3 hours. I do not like that game.
It's
it is
different.
rough. It is
Old?
It's old, and it's just like I really wish someone would take it and make it control anywhere near not horrible. The interactions with the world are bad. How you have to fucking do some like right click, left click, drag, right click. Like it is horrible. The user interface. I
would say 2 is the more loved.
Okay.
I believe.
I went into a vault and I couldn't do anything in there. And I looked up a guide and it turns out there was like 1,000 things I didn't even know I could interact with because it is not very obvious you can interact with them. Like there's 2 pixels you have to hover over to get like an icon. Like it is just fucking rough. And like I just was not enjoying my time with it. And so honestly, it was more of like I wanted to do that because I'd never played Fallout 1, 2, or Tactics. And I was like, I know those games are what spawned this fucking series. So let me give them a try. I haven't tried 2. Maybe 2 would be
I would
better for me.
give 2 a try because that one's a little more expansive. It is the more loved of the games, and it came a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe that'll be a
one is a
little better.
relatively simple game in comparison.
Yeah.
To be honest.
So that was kind of one of my driving factors. And like I said, Tale of Two Wastelands, I've been enjoying it. I'm glad I kind of get to play through both 3 and New Vegas because those were some of my favorite games from 2008, 2009.
Yeah, for sure.
Play Fallout Brotherhood of Steel.
And that was another thing is getting to play all of the DLCs again. Like Fallout 3 had some fucking amazing DLC.
Yeah, it did. I never got to play any. I never played any of the DLC
from New
I
Vegas.
don't think so. No, from either one. I don't think.
So you never played like Operation
play
Anchorage
Mothership
or
Zeta?
Mothership?
No,
You
never
fucking
played those.
alien
Oh my
spaceship?
God.
I know. I'm missing so much.
Dude, yeah.
You get abducted by aliens and then you get a ray gun.
Yeah.
Damn. That's so good.
Dude, and fucking
Sold.
Point Break, I am not looking forward to because I remember even fucking being at max level when I played that and being like, these hillbillies have so much fucking health and they do so much goddamn damage. But I will say, one of the best things that came out of Point Break was you meet a ghoul named Desmond. And fucking Bernadette and I had a fucking blast and a half back in the day just because for some reason, like when you end his dialogue tree, like every time you talk to him, he just looks at you and he goes, "I'm Desmond." And that's it. And then for like every time I would walk away, do something else, come back up to him and like interact, "I'm Desmond." Like, and it's just fucking great. I don't know, for some reason it just fucking tickled me and I loved it and I can't wait to run into Desmond again.
This sounds great. Every time I hear the word Fallout, or I see something from Fallout, or the new game announcement, whatever,
Yeah.
I get that urge to play Fallout. But I know, like right now, if I was to play any Fallout, it would have to be 4, just because I haven't.
I would recommend it. But here's the other thing I remember about Fallout 3. Holy fuck, you enter a building and there's like 10,000 things you can interact with, and there's drawers and buckets and trash
And
cans.
there's no
shelving.
point to interact
It is.
with most
It's
of it.
overwhelming as shit. But
it's
I
honestly-
have this fucking internal fear that if I fucking don't open that desk, I'm gonna miss something.
You're gonna miss that
I'm
amazing
gonna-
gun?
I think it's one of the
in there.
reasons I usually burn out on Fallout games.
There was alien ammo in that one desk you didn't check.
Exactly. And so, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons I like that I have this mod on, that my weight limit's 1,000 something,
Yeah.
that I'm a little less, I don't have to be picky choosy when I'm like interacting with something. I just take all, and go to a shop and like sell all the junk.
Gotcha.
But
Me
yeah.
getting overwhelmed in a Fallout game always happens the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when I enter like a fucking like apartment building
Oh, yeah.
or some shit, and I'm like, I just can't. Do
There's
this.
so much.
Well, can't do this now.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I hope you keep playing it.
Yeah, I'm going to.
I really, I get this way after E3 every year. I always just like my brain is going in a million different directions, and I want to play so much shit.
Yep.
So now I want to play Fallout. But what I can say I've been playing, aside from Watch Dogs 2, I'm still going with that, still enjoying it, but I'm not going to talk about it tonight. I just want to talk briefly a little bit. I started, as I mentioned at the start of the show, I started my Resident Evil series run with Resident Evil 0. I've played about 4 or 5 hours of this game at this point, and man, it's been a while, because Resident Evil, in the past few years, obviously most of the games we've played have been kind of post Resident Evil 4 style, so they've been over the shoulder, more kind of action oriented, or with Resident Evil 7 it was first person. So this is kind of the first one, with the exception of when Brad and I did the mini project M of Resident Evil 2. It's been a while since I've played this style of Resident Evil game before.
Yeah.
And 0 is one that I haven't played since it originally came out, and maybe someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like this game came out in like 2002 or something.
It sounds about right.
It came out like 2 years after the remake of Resident Evil 1. It carries over like a lot of the visual flair or the visual style of Resident Evil 1, so at the time it looked like a fucking amazing. But
Resident Evil 0.
yeah, first of all,
So I remember my parents got me this for Christmas on GameCube like in 2004 or something. So
GamerBeck says November 12th, 2002. Thank you.
yeah, that's probably
Is that a
Yeah.
Japan release date or
I
US?
think it was worldwide. I could be wrong. I don't think it took too long coming out over here after it came out in Japan. But
This was the first Resident Evil game I ever played.
this is the first one you ever played? Okay, first of all, I feel
Would
like
you call yourself a Resident Evil fan?
No.
Things are adding up.
oh my god, you really don't like this game.
It's okay. It's
Okay,
fine.
I want to like Resident Evil, but I don't have that much.
Sure. And like I said,
Positive
I don't want to go into
experience,
too
I
much detail right now.
the inventory's are smaller in this
Yes,
one.
each character only has 6 slots in this game, and I can't remember if you eventually get the ability to like add slots. But
It's really up its own ass with kind of putting stuff down on the ground. And, okay, sorry.
I'll get there. I'll get there.
I remember I was playing this last year
Yeah,
as well when it
for sure.
when it came out.
So I am. By the way, I am playing the HD collection. It came out on PS4. So that's the same way I'll be playing the remake too. But like I said, I'm doing kind of this like a retrospective thing. I'm going to write some of my thoughts on each of these games after I finish them. So I'll go into more detail there. I think it's been so long since I played this game. Think about this. This game was originally going to come out on the N64.
Jesus Christ.
There are screenshots out there and video of this game running on N64. Not with this graphic style, obviously. It looks more like Resident Evil 2. But they eventually, once they did the remake, they were like, fuck that, and they repurposed it and did it in GameCube. I think it works great. But one thing that I don't think they did improve and carry over was like the present, like this. I forgot how bad like the voice acting was, and it's still like I think the Resident Evil remake has better like voice acting and stuff than this game. This game still feels like a PlayStation 1 era Resident Evil game where they had like the really stilted voice acting, and not it still took a few years for them to get to a point where it was like passable. But this was like I don't know why they have to say each other's name every time they talk to each other. Like every time something happens, he goes like Rebecca, and he's like Billy, help me. It's so bad. It's all like some of that dialogue is so stilted, but it has the cool atmosphere of the Resident Evil 1 remake. It has some pretty unique stuff that kind of makes this game stand apart. This is, like Brad mentioned a second ago, the inventory system, I think, is kind of like the what makes this game, I think, divisive. Because instead of using item boxes, like classic Resident Evil, you actually have to drop items where you stand. So if you have too much stuff in your inventory, you need to pick something up, you got to pick something to drop.
You always have too much stuff in your inventory because
you only have 6 slots. You only have 6 slots per character, but you have 2 characters.
It's a smart idea in theory, but all it leads to in practice is you picking like, I'm going to drop all of my items in the lobby. And now I have this entire lobby littered with shit, and I have to find the exact spot where each item is. You got to fucking remember, because everything is just a little shiny dot on the fucking ground.
It happens in this footage. You'll see me try to pick up an increment, and I pick up the gun
and
3
times. And then the angles are changing, so it's like, oh, well, on this angle, you can still see the other items that are on other angles.
It's weird.
Conceptually, a cool idea. In practice, is like weird.
I will say, I think this is an example of like kind of why I think I've loved Resident Evil for so long, in that like every game tries something pretty different.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of happens to be this game's thing. And obviously it didn't stick. It wasn't like they did this and then it was like every game after it we're using this system like Resident Evil 4.
But I mean that's the thing. Like Resident Evil 3, it's like the thing in this game is you have this nemesis creature that's like constantly chasing after you. You never know when he's gonna pop out. You could choose to like fight him or run away, and if you fight him every time, you can like build these badass weapons. And then this game's thing is dropping shit on the ground.
Okay.
And that's like 2 different things to have.
No, sure.
And one seems way cooler.
But here, the other thing with this game is you're controlling 2 characters simultaneously,
true.
and they can literally be in different rooms, and you can switch between them on the fly, which is pretty cool. So like, there was a scenario I think in this footage where I realized I left something in the lobby on the ground, so I left Billy in the room, and I told him to stay there, and I ran all the way to the lobby, and you could switch back and forth no matter where you are in the game. You could be like all the way across like the map, and you press triangle, swaps you back to the other character, which I think is really cool.
So in a way, GTA 5 copied Resident Evil 0.
Yes, precisely. I forgot I don't know why I forgot you could do that in GTA 5.
Well, you could do that. You could do that in like Lost Vikings or whatever.
It's cool. It's unique in the sense of Resident Evil because of the way classic Resident Evil is, where you're solving these like obscure puzzles, which I think that kind of system works pretty well in a game like this. But like I said, I'm only about 4 or 5 hours into it, and I'm going to keep going, and I will talk more about my thoughts. This is probably the only time you'll hear me talk about it on the podcast. I will go into more depth about how I feel about this one. After I finish it, I'll do my little write-up on it, and then I'll move on to Resident Evil 1 Remake, which is one of my favorite games in the series. But yeah, I'll be playing more Resident Evil 0, I think, at the latest Monday night, after I do 4Player Plus. Monday night. Starting around 9 o'clock, I'll do some more Resident Evil 0. But I might try and squeeze some more in over the weekend if I can find a time where the stream is open and I have some free time, because I really have the itch to play Resident Evil right now, and I know people want to see me continue playing it. But you're going to be seeing a lot of Resident Evil for
So
me.
you're not playing Resident Evil 2 during the series run because you're building up to the Resident Evil 2 remake,
Correct.
and you feel that would be redundant.
Well, it's mostly I mean, I probably would have, except I played
Right,
Resident
but it
Evil 2
would be kind of
recently.
redundant, right, to play
Yeah,
both of them?
Yes, it would.
And you waited 4 hours in line to play that game, and you've already played it before!
No, but like that's different.
It's not different.
No,
it's the same thing, Nick.
But first of all, you do see what's happened here, right? I waited in line for 4 hours to play that game, and it inspired me to do this entire series run. Like I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done this.
Sure,
It's
sure,
also
sure.
not the same
but
game.
But we've been
It's
arguing about this for like a week
Well,
now.
not really arguing.
And I
you just keep bringing it up.
I think you deciding not to play 2 in your series run kind of proves my point.
No, here's the thing. I would gladly play Resident Evil 2, but I can't. Like, I want to beat all these games for January. I don't want to play 9, 10 Resident Evil games
right? It
between
would
now
be a
and
waste
January.
of time to play the same game twice. I agree.
You know what? Fuck you, Crispy. I'm gonna play Resident. I'm throwing Resident Evil 2 back in there just to spite you. I'm not letting you win this one.
Are you not going to
I
play
can do it in a
7
fucking day.
Are you not going to play 7 in VR? I'd probably...
Here's the thing. If I get to a point where I've finished all of these games and I still have like a month to burn before Resident Evil 2 Remake, I'll gladly go back in and replay 7.
I would
and
like you to
2.
replay 7 just to
Here's the thing.
kind of put the whole thing into perspective because...
Sure, but you know what? The other reason I want to play 7 again is because if I do it again, I'm going to play it without VR.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You should play it in VR. Not be... VR can be a very powerful thing for making someone...
I know what you're alluding to, Brad.
Ejaculate.
And I know what you're trying to say, but like
It
just
makes
because
bad
no,
games
no,
good. Is
no,
what he's saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like it's a very powerful thing, and it does make some games certainly better when it's done well. You
Sure,
know,
but
like I would never play Rez not in VR at this point. Like,
I'm also
it was transcendent, in VR. So I just want you to have that other perspective, to see.
That's fine, but like even if I play Resident Evil 7 and don't enjoy it as much playing it without VR,
Your initial experience was in VR. So
it would still probably be
away.
my favorite Resident Evil experience playing 7 in VR. Like at this point, I want to play it. I want to play it without VR just to say I did.
Nick,
but
what
if I went back to play it again after that, I don't think I'd ever play that game
What
outside
about
of
the
VR.
best experience being playing 4 on the Wii with the fucking...
And I've done that.
That was so fucking
And
amazing.
I've definitely done that. But you know what? That
Headshot
game,
after headshot.
but the game
It
looks
was
the game looks kind of like,
balance though. It was
Yeah,
like
no, it was
Twin
too
Snakes
easy.
with first person.
and the
Yeah.
game kind of looks like butt now on Wii.
Oh,
so
yeah, it
not to mention,
does.
I don't even own a Wii anymore. I have a Wii U, but it's like in storage. I'm not.
Man, Twin Snakes was fun.
Well, the Wii U will cleans up Wii games a little bit. I mean,
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
but Resident Evil 4, you should probably play like just the HD version or the fan HD version.
Yeah, no, I picked it up on PS4 a few months back, so I'm gonna play it on PS4. I think.
Although related, have you seen the Okami on Switch?
Yeah, I saw your thing you tweeted where he was using.
Man, it's so slick, right?
Yeah, looks
like
dope.
that is one port that I can really get behind because there's never been an implementation of Okami that is that like as intended as the Switch version.
Because you can
because
use the-
you have regular controls, but you have the touchscreen for your drawing, and you're not pressing a button. Like you touching the screen initiates the drawing, like pulls up the drawing screen.
Yeah.
It is that is the fullest realization of like what the in-game is representing in terms of
Absolutely.
directly
It
drawing
kind of
on
makes
the
me
screen.
regret having picked up Okami on the PS4 because I didn't realize they were doing a Switch version. So I
That'll
was like,
still
fuck.
be the most beautiful version,
Yeah,
the
for
PC
sure.
version. But yeah, I mean that in terms of mechanics, that's like so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris Davis, can we get a time check? How are we doing on time? All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back,
I got another game.
we have one
A
more
cool
game to
game.
talk about with Brad, and then we're gonna check in with Nolan and Brad on their thoughts on E3 and answer some Patreon questions. So if you're watching us live on 4pp.tv, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Has it perfectly. Hold the onions, but please make a patty out of fries.
That, my friends, is a Chris Davis order right there. And then, anyways, Yes. Shut up, Chris Davis. We're welcome back to the show, everybody. We have one more game to talk about, and then we're going to talk to Nolan and Brad about what they thought of E3 because they didn't get to go.
Cool.
And I want to hear from them.
Yeah.
But first, Brad, you have another game you want to talk about.
Yeah, I've been playing this for off and on for a couple of weeks now. I haven't been able to talk about it because we haven't been having regular podcasts lately. Or I wasn't on the last. I wasn't on the
E3?
podcast before E3.
You weren't?
No, Henry was sick.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I've been playing Yoku's Island Express. If you ask me that any other time, I might say it differently. It's a hard name to remember.
Dude, I shit you not. When I was trying to make graphics and shit and like make the overlays, I kept googling Yoshi's Island Express, and I was like, "Where is this game?"
Yeah.
Yako's Island Adventure.
Yoku's
Island Express. This is a new video game. I got it on the Switch. You can get it various places. I got it on the Switch because
Is this the one I saw you casting the other day that I was like, Brad, what the fuck is this? It's like a chicken or something, but pinball?
Yes.
Ah,
this
looks kind of good.
This is a Metroidvania, but the core conceit and mechanics is that everything is pinball. So your interactions with the world, you can move this character left and right, but other than that, and he gets some abilities and stuff because it is a Metroidvania.
You've been playing a lot of like weird Metroidvanias with hooks, like weird hooks, like Dandara.
Yeah. And this one is this is more than a hook. This is pretty much how you interact with the world. You got left trigger, right trigger is like your left paddle and right paddle. So like any blue paddles, like the left paddle, any yellow paddle or orange paddles, the right paddle, and sometimes you see paddles that are different colored or both colors, and you can press either.
How many times during your stream have you said that's a paddling?
I don't think I've said that.
That's paddling.
But first of all, I want to apologize for this footage because I was kind of holding a baby while I was trying to do it, and that's just not...
No excuses.
That's why it's all framing.
I was letting the baby play.
Well, it's why... Is it framing? What the fuck
No,
is...
it was for a second.
It's kind of framing, but don't worry about it.
But why?
I feel like we have this conversation once a week.
OBS, we need OBS. So like I was kind of like fucking up. Oh man, this is...
Stop focusing on the frames and talk about the game.
Well, I mean, it's disappointing.
I know, but we can't talk about it on the podcast.
So
right?
this looks like a pinball table, right? But
Yes.
it's just part of this. And again, I'm not doing so good because I'm holding a baby. But it's just sort of part of this.
Does Brad even really have a baby?
This world.
Are you sure he just doesn't play bad?
So it is very pinball driven. Now there are areas that you get to like this, which are like straight up look like pinball tables. And the thing that is surprising about this game is it is very strict with your pinballing. Like you have to be very precise with the way you hit the balls in such a way where I'm sort of understanding and respecting the game of pinball more through this Metroidvania because I've had to like really try to like line up shots in a way that I've never really done playing pinball because I think like most normal people who didn't grow up playing pinball, you're like, oh cool, a pinball machine, and you just
nobody
like
really knows.
the fucking
Nobody
paddles,
really
like,
knows what they're
no.
doing with pinball.
One of the 3 games I had growing up was the Space Pinball game on
Space
Windows.
Cadet?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I remember
played hundreds of hours of that game.
So y'all are like seasoned pinball players then.
Yeah.
Because when I play a pinball game, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing.
I'm just kind of slamming the paddles, but here you've had to really kind of like line stuff up because there are you get into situations where like the only way to get out of this that's probably Henry. The only way to get out of this section I'm in is to like on this left paddle wait till the very last kind of like little the very tip. And then hit the fucking paddle to really kind of get to where I need to go. And sometimes you have to do these like kind of repetitively or repeatedly trigger something, kind of like activating all the stuff on a particular like pinball table. And that is where like the game ends up being like really compelling, is because it's just a satisfying and creative way to concede to a world. Now.
So I guess
the frustrating part of this footage is because I'm having a trouble because of this baby. I kind of get stuck in these tables, but it has like a full like big open explorable world that that's gated through like various elements, various abilities and whatnot.
And are all the abilities like pinball related?
No, not exactly. I mean, you like I got this ability. Like I'm the little bug that's pushing it. I guess the little dung beetle or whatever. And he gets like a vacuum at one time, which lets him vacuum up these slugs that I've spawned onto the table here. And if you have a slug, they're explosive. They'll explode over time. But if you hit one of these rocks, you can explode the rocks and get through, which is what I'm kind of trying to do here poorly. So I sucked one up. I blew up that rock. It's hard to tell because it's all framey for some reason. Maybe because Chris Davis is chatting.
Brad,
it's your footage every week.
We'll
Don't
talk
worry
about
about
it after
Wait, is
the
it
show.
just my footage?
Yes, we'll talk
We'll
about
talk
it later.
about it after the show.
Okay. So yeah, it's really good. I just kind of would like to get to further in the footage here, to kind of like because I open up the map and stuff, and it's not. There's more like exploratory.
Is like the open part of the
creative
world
stuff.
like format like
Yes, I mean it's all like kind of pinball related, but instead of just sticking to like one. What the fuck?
you must have fallen back.
But
forward
instead
again.
of like sticking to like a particular table, you're doing stuff like using paddles to like navigate the world in like cool creative ways, and it's kind of interesting. Maybe skip ahead a little bit further.
This does look really cool.
It's surprisingly good. I'm just in a different like tower that I'm trying to get up, but
so how much time would you say you spend on like the overworld versus like doing these like pinball like
probably,
tables? Ooh, look at all the stuff.
yeah.
That was cool.
I'd say it's like, I mean, it's all integrated together. I mean, that's all I could say. Here's the map.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So I was just kind of in that tower because I was trying to collect 6 of these things, these little like dust bunnies or whatever for them, and once I got them, well, it just took a while because I think the footage restarted. But whatever. Hey, I really wanted to recapture some footage, but it's really cool, and I do recommend it, especially if you're looking for a good Switch game. I found this one like surprisingly addictive and compelling. And,
I'll add that to my list of cool Metroidvanias that came out in 2018 that I'd like to someday play, like Dondara.
But I mean,
What?
Okay, Brad. Thanks.
Brad, words. Use your words. What are you talking about?
one of y'all should play this.
I'm going to, Brad.
Okay, cool.
I am. I liked what I saw you playing of it the other day. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah.
Cool. That game is called Yoku's Island Express for the Switch and other stuff. Brad, what's wrong?
Oh, I'm just disappointed is all in my footage.
Sorry. All right, we have that kind of covers all the games we wanted to talk about today. But like I said, there's not really a whole lot of news because E3 kind of dominates the news cycle, and then the week after is usually pretty slow news-wise. I guess before we talk about E3, we could. Do you have something you want to say about the only like real big news topic that's kind of been like lingering since E3 is the Fortnite situation with Sony? Do we want to comment on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
We can talk about
since E3, so during E3, Nintendo obviously announced the release of Fortnite. Everybody kind of saw this coming. Fortnite coming to the Switch, which is a huge deal because Fortnite is, a massive success, and they got something like 2 million downloads in like.
Yeah.
Within like an hour of them announcing this thing, which is ridiculous. But it turns out once people started to dig into it and get it and start to play it on their Switch, anyone who had, I guess, had an account and was playing with their character on like PS4 found out that they could not play their character on the Switch.
Correct.
Essentially, they have locked their. If you ever played your account on your PS4, it's locked to the PS4, and if you want to play on Switch, you essentially, I guess, have to make a new account and start playing a different character on the Switch. So essentially, Sony is kind of gating off crossplay between Switch and Sony platforms.
Yes.
Which has a lot of people, I think, understandably upset. I think if you're going to be jumping between platforms, especially with a thing like Fortnite, you certainly want to see your progression carry from one to the other. Nobody wants to start a new character and start all that jazz. So people
are spending a lot of money.
Yeah,
too.
People are spending a lot of money, so people are rightfully upset. I think the obvious thing here is that Sony came out and responded to this whole thing because people were obviously making a huge stink about it. But Sony kind of replied to it, and they're, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but it was more or less,
fuck you.
They're defending their stance. They're not budging on it, and they're saying it primarily has to do with money. Some people are obviously not happy with that response, and some other people are getting snarky about it.
Yeah.
Brad, would you like to say something?
Oh, well. First of all, do you? Well, okay, yeah.
Because kind of that's my knowledge of this situation. Kind of stops
Nintendo.
there.
There was a tweet from Nintendo of America today at Microsoft, and it's like, hey, we could totally play Minecraft together. We should build something together.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
They're getting
Someone could
snarky.
click on the exact tweet or whatever, but I think ultimately this could end up kind of forcing Sony's hand, because Fortnite is kind of bigger than anything that's going on with Sony right now, and it's making them look really bad. And people kind of been getting on them about this whole. So people have been out there saying like, "Hey, the only one that's keeping us from all playing together is Sony."
Yeah,
it happened with Rocket League.
Was that image that said "survive together" with Xbox and Switch? Was that from one of those accounts? I just saw that image.
That was the Minecraft tweet, I believe.
No, I'm talking about
the red and green.
There's like a red and green.
That came from Nintendo.
Nintendo.
Well.
The tweet from Nintendo of America said, "Hey Xbox, since we can play together in Minecraft now, do you want to build something?"
Yeah.
And I mean, I think
just so obviously throwing shade at Sony.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I mean, one thing I think you have to kind of keep in mind when you see stuff like that is this has always happened. It's always one company or another making some kind of scummy decision that people don't like, and then the other competitors immediately recognizing an opportunity to kind of throw shade. It happens all the time. Like when Microsoft was trying to do their whole like online connectivity thing and like bar people from basically trading in games and stuff, and then Sony was like, hey, there's an opportunity to make them look bad. Let's kind of take advantage of the situation, which is weird because you also see times where like you see them kind of like commingling and talking about like praising their competition and saying things like competition is good for both people involved.
Phil Spencer's out there saying that, but that's because
it's just kind of like
no company truly believes in the value of competition.
They want money.
Every company wants to be the only performer in their sector. I mean, that is just the definition of the way corporations are run. So,
but their corporations are also run by people too. There are people behind.
There are, but the most important thing is increased earnings every year. And whatever they have to do
of course. But I'm also just saying, like,
those comps.
Like people, like Sony is looking particularly scummy about this, and people are kind of like, oh my god, look, Nintendo, Microsoft, they're doing great, but it's like they're also both guilty of this kind of shit in different situations. And I think people quickly forget about this the moment something new happens, and they latch onto that.
It's a really weird position for them to be taking, and for them to be backing it up.
It's not a weird position. It's the way it's always been.
No, but it's weird that is their philosophy to begin with, because, I mean, like you were saying, this is bigger than them. You can play it on literally any other device but the PlayStation, so...
Well, you can play it on the PlayStation, you just can't play it with someone else.
Right. I mean, what I'm saying is if you wanted to play this game but didn't want to play it on a PlayStation, you have so many options.
Yes.
Like it's not like...
They're not really earning. They're not really gaining anything. This market's
just going to flow around them. I don't get what they're like.
They're not going to gain anything by barring.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. Like opening that up leads to like so many other potential issues and like bullshit that they have to deal with, and they've given reasons for why they don't want to do it. But I mean,
bless you.
Like it shouldn't be an expectation. I mean, this is a very new thing.
Yeah.
And if Sony has their misgivings, like, I think people are being kind of like dicks about it a little bit. I mean, I don't think they're doing anything that's like actively hostile. I mean, like I said, it's this new fucking thing, and you open that all up, and all of a sudden it's like, oh well, the Xbox like Call of Duty players are like better than the Sony ones, because they're winning more matches, and it's like maybe like some of these, maybe Sony just doesn't want to like put up with that bullshit.
No, but this is kind of weird that it's like it's a situation. It's not that like, hey, we're just not linking our service with these other external services. Like, that's completely different. It's like, hey, before anybody knew that this was what was up, like, people were tying their Epic accounts to their PlayStation accounts, and now that means that like if I've got a Switch and an Xbox, I can't play Fortnite on the Switch or the Xbox.
Yeah, there was,
because I chose to play it on the PlayStation.
That's a different issue. That was just some sort of like weird fuck up.
Also, that was also
that wasn't a fuck up.
No, dude, that was probably in the terms of service that nobody ever reads.
Dude, they showed like the day that happened, they were showing the screen that you get when you tried to log in on the Switch, and it said like, because you've associated your account with another service, this is not something that Epic can change. Do not call Epic customer support about this.
Yeah,
like this was something that they knew was happening.
They were trying to get ahead of it. The thing is,
but I mean, like the Switch has been hacked. I mean, if people like are cheating on the Switch because it's not protected anymore, and fuck up their account.
I mean,
but also you got
kind of a weird.
They've cited security reasons are one of the big issues.
You also have to consider that on Sony's end, when people, like Crispy said, before the Switch version of the game was a thing, were playing their games predominantly on the PS4. When you create that account, there's obviously that giant wall of text, the terms of service that nobody ever reads, and on that particular one, I bet if you go through that, you will see something that very clearly states, by playing on this service, you won't be able to play it on other platforms, or you won't be able to carry your progression over from this platform to another. But nobody thought anything of it at the time. I don't know. It's just weird.
I mean, they're still all competitors, and it's easy to point at the one who doesn't want to do it as being like the hostile one.
But that's not. But what I'm saying is, if that was all that was happening, that would be completely understandable. But the fact that like,
but I think the Fortnite thing is very specific.
But they're
to what's
actively
going on with Fortnite,
like,
not all the other games that they've.
Well, yeah, I mean the topic was Fortnite.
Yeah,
I know, but I'm saying like, I feel like people are linking this Fortnite thing to Sony's attitude about this altogether. But I mean,
if this was like if we were talking about, but the thing is, like, if we were talking about, like, just for example, because I'm just pulling this out my ass, if this was like Lawbreakers or something, and this was happening, I don't think it would be. The conversation would be the same.
It was just weird that it's like it's not even a situation where it was like, okay, if you want to play this on the PlayStation, you just have to make a new account and play it on the PlayStation. But they were still allowing people who had Epic accounts linked to their PlayStation account to play on PC. They just weren't allowing them to play on other consoles. Like, that's weirdly selective.
Yeah,
and they've had other,
and there's no way to disassociate
like Street Fighter.
Those
you
accounts,
can play on PlayStation versus PC. And other games have been cross-play in that way.
What about Rocket League?
Like Tekken. Is Tekken like that? Street Fighter I know is like that, but Rocket League I think is like that as well. But yeah, I don't know.
It's a weird situation, to be sure. It'll be interesting to see what comes of it. Like you said, because it's something as big as Fortnite,
it's just
sometimes their hand could be forced
Phil
at some
Spencer,
point.
Like,
it depends on how much damage
saying,
control they want to do.
We just want everybody to be happy. And it's like, but Phil, you're not doing so hot.
Yeah.
Of course you want this. You know, it's like, how genuine is that really?
How genuine is
I don't give a shit about what Nintendo and Xbox are saying about this. I mean, they're companies. They're going to score points wherever they
But
can
it's
find
the fact that they're saying that's making Sony look bad.
But that's not what was making Sony look bad.
Well,
this whole thing from the beginning
weird.
Looked bad before anybody commented on it.
Yeah.
Like, this is them coming in a fucking week later and scoring easy points. Like, who cares?
Yeah. True. Let's move on from this. We'll maybe revisit it if the situation at all changes in the near future. Just know, if you're a Fortnite player and you have not yet made the jump and you're playing on PS4, you may temporarily want to reconsider that. But before we go into questions from our supporters on Patreon, I do want to take a moment to catch up with Brad and Nolan about E3. Y'all weren't with us last week, so I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys about it.
Most of the big announcements we've already commented on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just because those came out of the conferences before.
And we did most of our commentary while
we
were still here in Austin before we flew out.
So, I mean, I guess the only real big thing is like some of the Nintendo announcements.
No, I commented on Nintendo.
And
on a podcast?
Sony.
I
We didn't do
discorded
Sony,
in.
Quote unquote. Big.
I discorded into the Nintendo press conference.
Oh, I forgot you did that.
Thanks for the invite.
You were at work.
I was at work on my lunch break. I was in my car yelling into a phone.
He was dodging his
Oh,
boss.
yeah. So I guess, so yeah, Sony and Nintendo were the two, so that Brad and I...
Well, also
I guess
Square Enix and
officially.
Ubisoft.
Sony and... No, so I will say, I was kind of actually disappointed in Sony this year. Their conference was okay.
Well, they had a lot of stuff. the way they
their
did
approach,
their conference.
their approach was totally different,
Correct.
and leading up to it, they did the thing that they've been talking about, where they're like, these are the 4 games we're going to focus on, and sure enough, they did that.
Yeah.
There was only a few. They sprinkled other announcements.
I will
throughout
say
it.
that
kinda funny,
Ghost of Tsushima looks fucking beautiful as shit.
Dude.
The grass in that game, the lighting, like I am very excited for that game.
Dude, that game looks like so good.
There's some rumors going around
Dude,
that
but
some of the
there's,
stuff we saw this year wasn't on current gen hardware.
I wouldn't be
for sure.
surprised. Brad, that's every fucking game
But there's-
ever at a conference.
But-
Well, I mean, we're at a point where
Right.
What point?
In the next few years, we're
well,
gonna
you
be
know,
talking about
like when with
PS5
Watch
and-
Dogs or whatever. I'm
So?
saying like this was
Well, I
the
don't-
first E3 where they weren't really saying. You know.
Well,
what I mean?
no, I mean there were some situations where they were saying like I'm pretty sure Cyberpunk was not running.
Yeah, but
on,
that's a PC, so that doesn't count.
okay.
But like a Sony exclusive, that didn't look like.
I'm pretty sure Ghost of Tsushima is a PS4 game. If that's what you're worried about.
No, I'm sure it would
Brad
be
is
on
just
PS4.
saying, Nick, that wasn't running on a PS4. It could have been running on a higher end PC.
Sure.
So it looks a little bit better than it will
Sure.
once it's on the PS4.
Yeah, and that happens. That happens all the time, though. Not even just when we're getting close to the end of a generation. That happens when they just demo new software on high-end PCs instead of.
Also at Sony, I will say that I think we saw a little too much Death Stranding. I wish I wouldn't have seen that much. Mainly
Are
just
you
because
most?
I want to go into that game not knowing anything.
Dude, I still don't know.
Peel his toenails off.
Oh, that was actually cool.
Dude, I still have no idea.
I
what that
agree.
fucking game
I
is.
did the baby butt was interesting, but I still don't know what the game is about, and I'm glad. I fucking just don't want to know. I wanted it to be even crazier. I just don't want to know anything.
I
going
saw
into
at
that
the
game.
end, towards the end of that when he was like sneaking around.
Yeah.
We were like, "What is this? A stealth game?"
It's like who's designing this?
Damn, Kojima. What are you?
I'd be shocked if it didn't have stealth elements.
I'm still excited for it though. The Last of Us 2, I thought the footage wasn't violent enough. I think it needed a lot more.
needed
Don't
more
gore.
don't poke
and
the bear,
violence.
Needed more
Noah.
violence.
Don't poke the bear. Let's not
Hey,
revisit that
it was
conversation.
just-
all I
It
have
wasn't
is
that raw.
Neil
Yeah,
Druckmann
it
in an
was so
interview
tame.
saying that like I reacted the way I wasn't supposed to. So, I mean, I'm not the criminal here.
No one's.
I'm not the villain here. I'm just.
Let the record show that was
human
Nolan
one.
who poked the bear on that one.
Yeah.
Not me.
I mean, it would have been nicer if there was just a little more.
I didn't really think I really into it.
Yeah. But anyway, I will agree with other people that it did look fairly scripted, and I'm sure it was.
So just so you know, they were doing behind closed
cutscene?
doors.
Yes.
They were doing behind closed doors demonstrations of both Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima that were being played live by people who were doing demos. So
I heard the
just
Ghost
saying.
of Tsushima thing. They all
But
did
yeah,
was
so The Last of
play
Us.
that again.
Last
Yeah,
of
no,
Us
same
2,
thing with Last of Us 2. They were just showing that stuff that we saw was in a playable state.
Okay, that's fine. It looks great. I'm excited for it. What else?
What about the surprises from Sony? There were still a few of them. Neo 2.
Yeah, that was a surprise for me.
Fucking like I got so excited for a moment and
Didn't
then
see that
remembered.
coming.
And then just immediately remembered that it took me a year to finish the
Yep.
first one.
Yeah,
Resident Evil 2 was there.
Dude, and we all know how excited I am for that shit.
with
Woo!
the rat running around
That-
and getting smashed and stuff. That was good.
Before we finish this conversation, I do want to kind of ask you what y'all's hypest thing was, I guess.
From the
Smash
show at
it.
all?
Yeah, so because like for me, obviously, I think everyone can probably tell like Resident Evil 2 is far and away like the thing I'm most excited for coming out
Dude,
of
for
E3.
me, it's probably still Dying Light 2.
yeah.
Smash Bros.
I will say that Smash Brothers, everyone's here, but Waluigi looks pretty good. I'm super fucking excited that Snake's back. Everyone tells me he's broken. I'm excited. That was one of the things I loved most about Snake was how fucking broken he was.
Well, and his butt.
Yeah, and his butt.
Glad Snake is back. It still seems like they're porting it and
Oh no, of course.
adding old characters.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, all the UI and everything was new too.
oh, wow.
So,
Brand new game.
I don't know. Brand new game.
I'll play it.
I will say this: I think this decision to do Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and don't take this the wrong way, Brad. I'm not trying to poke the bear here, but I feel like by deciding to do Super Smash Bros. Ultimate the way they're doing it, this game was not really designed with people like you in mind. As far as like how
Who is it
it's
designed for?
I think it's designed for people who are like hardcore into like all they play is Smash.
Like competitive Smash
Yeah,
players?
competitive Smash players. Like the idea of being able to
Competitive
play.
Smash players don't want new characters?
I didn't say that, but dude, like, but what I'm saying is, those players are the ones who are going to be just totally ecstatic and over the moon about the idea of having every character together in one game. And for some
But like
people,
the
for those
characters
people, that
they're
might
bringing
be
back, like they make it sound like we're bringing back everyone. It ain't that many that weren't in
Correct.
the last Smash Brothers game. I mean, they're bringing back Roy, you know, who is a clone of Marth, which, by the way, they added another clone of Marth in the last Smash game in Lucina. So now there's 3 Marths. It's not that exciting that Roy's coming back. You know what I mean?
Brad, all I'm
Hey, but
saying
Roy
is
was pretty
the people who play
was
play
low
Smash
tier.
Brothers.
I don't care. I liked it.
The people who play Smash Brothers competitively, religiously, are probably way more jazzed about this than people who
You
play
know
it more
what?
Those
casually.
aren't the ones that are going to make Nintendo rich. That's a small community.
But you know what's weird, though?
but they're tailoring their game that they decided to make to their more dedicated community, and you know that may not be the best.
But you understand, half of that dedicated community plays Melee, and they only ever want to play Melee.
That's
Sure,
true.
Brad. This is why I didn't want to say that, but
this decision to make this Ultimate Smash Brothers with all the previous characters and to try to like punch up some of the controls and add new mechanics and stuff to it, to me feels very in line with what we've seen from them from the last few years, in that Nintendo seems to be incredibly fucking thirsty for an MLG game.
Oh, of
like
course.
for like they wanted ARMS to be that. They wanted Splatoon 2 to be that.
Yeah.
They want like if they think maybe if we can just like put out the perfect like
Smash
fan compliant version of Smash Brothers, maybe that will be it, you know?
Listen. There's no reason that you can't make changes that appeal to the hardcore community that is divided. I don't care how large. I understand that it's very large. It is still a divided one. You can do that in a new game with lots of new characters. Like it's just not as exciting that we got Ridley and Daisy, who is a clone of Peach.
Yeah.
Brad, I get it. This is why I didn't want to bring it up, but I think you're right. But I think there's also an argument in the other direction. That's all I'm saying. And not to mention, like, who's to say they're not going to announce more characters before this game or after this game comes out?
Well,
they definitely
Sakurai
will.
said that there might be a few more, but don't expect that many. Like, I'm pretty sure he straight up came out and said that.
Yeah, but like you said, from one Smash to the next, there wasn't really that many characters.
No, that's not true. There was. I tweeted before the podcast.
I was just saying what you just said. Never mind. Let's.
No.
I get it,
No,
Brad.
I would
he
like
was
to read this
saying
out.
was there
This
weren't
is a
that
big
many
topic at
characters.
E3. The last new Smash Bros. This is literally what I'm going to read my tweets.
Sure, fine. Read
The
your
last
tweets.
new Smash Brothers added Bowser Jr., Dark Pit, Duck Hunt Dog, Greninja, Little Mac, Lucina, Mega Man, 3 Mii Fighters, Pac-Man, Palutena, Robin, Rosalina, Shulk, Villager, Wii Fit Trainer, Charizard as a full character, Bayonetta, Corrin, Cloud, and Ryu as DLC.
Okay.
There's more DLC,
Not to mention that these look dramatically different from one to the next and didn't look like a port. They added all these new characters, and that is immediately way more exciting than, you know, some Ice Climbers is coming back. The one before that, Smash Brothers Brawl, added Pokemon Trainer, which is Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charizard, Diddy Kong, Ike, King DDD, Lucario, Lucas, Meta Knight, Captain Olimar, Pit, Rob, Solid Snake, Sonic, Wario, Toon Link, Wolf, and Zero Suit Samus. The one before that added Bowser, Dr. Mario, Falco, Ganondorf, Ice Climbers, Marth, Mewtwo, Mr. Game & Watch, Peach, Pichu, Roy, Sheik, Young Link, and Zelda. These aren't just like a lot of characters. They're really like creative choices that were like exciting to see at the time. Like, you know, like when they added like Mega Man, you know, and Sonic and
Pac-Man?
and Pac-Man and you know, even back then when
Robin.
like Bowser was in it for the first
Robin
time or
was
whatever
cool.
the fuck, right? Like Smash Brothers was exciting. Remember that first trailer for Brawl that had like fucking Snake at the end? Like they were revealing a lot of new characters. It was exciting.
That Mario's overalls look like denim.
We're at this new one that they're claiming is a new game, and the big hook is everyone is back, which isn't that many. And
you just finished saying that.
No, I'm saying the amount of people that
He's saying the people that got left out,
that have
now come back, is not that big of a number
That is
of
not
people.
that many.
It's like, oh, we added
It's not
those
nearly
4
as
people
many
we
as
took out.
Sure.
the new
and then to
characters they
announce
added.
Ridley
Like-
and Daisy, it's just the excitement's not there.
I-
not to mention, it looks just like the last fucking.
I
one.
do want to highlight what Cleft and Chat just said because I think it's also important that this is a Smash game that's being reproduced on a highly selling popular console as opposed to the Wii U, which was a
Absolutely, I
You know what?
understand.
Where's Phoenix Wright? Where's Professor Layton?
there are a lot of people.
Those would be some
You're
fucking
right.
sweet
I
Smash
get
characters.
you make a good point.
Objection!
They even work.
So don't bring back old characters. Do more new characters.
I know, and I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying from Nintendo's perspective, this is also being tailored to people who maybe skipped an entire generation of Smash. And
No, that's true. But you know what? Because of that, that is the reason why I'm not excited. Just like I'm not gonna like flip my shit that the Donkey Kong on Wii U is on Switch now, or that the Mario Kart on Wii U is on Switch now. You know what I found out today? And I didn't even realize it. I started reading these reviews of the new Mario Tennis, which aren't that amazing. Like,
Reggie seems
like
to be
there
enjoying
was a Mario Tennis on Wii U. They kind of just took that and added a bunch of content to it. It's kind of like one of these fancy ports, just like Smash and a lot of other stuff they've been doing. I had no idea. This is one of their big like releases this year. Like they don't have much.
you're right.
It's just
You're right. I concede.
I'm saying this is why I'm not super excited. Which we should be excited about a Super Smash.
I will tell you
Bros.
this: I'm gonna pick it up. You know why? Because I haven't bought a Smash game since Brawl.
I mean, I'm probably gonna pick it up too. But that doesn't mean. But I'm nowhere. My boner's not nearly where it was before.
I do not have much of a boner for it either. I'll be totally honest.
I don't know, my snake's pretty
My
solid.
biggest disappointment, one of my biggest disappointments of E3 is that like this year, Nintendo's focus was on a game that I'm just straight up, just never been that into. Like I like it, I have fun with it. I'm kind of excited to have it on the Switch and maybe be able to play it, with Robin and every once in a while and have a good time with it, whatever.
Oh,
but
you like to main Robin?
I do too.
I forgot about that. But like we went from a year where it was Breath of the Wild to a year that was focused on Mario Odyssey and to something like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is just admittedly not as exciting to someone like me. But
a brand new game would have meant a lot more new characters, which means I would have had a much bigger chance of getting something like The Wonderful 101 or any representation from Advance Wars.
God, I hope that those few new characters that they teased are big deals.
Someone should do a count, like since everybody's back, how many Fire Emblem characters do they have in now?
All right,
3 more.
All right, more E3 stuff. Just kind of want to
6.
What else? What else was y'all? Is there anything else y'all want to know, or anything you want to talk about that we didn't have a chance to maybe talk about on our other shows?
I know you saw Cyberpunk.
I did,
but I feel like you didn't really talk about it all.
Dude,
all that much,
is
it was at the end of the night on your last day or whatever.
I was tired, but that demo was also really dense and hard to remember everything that happened.
Which again is why I think,
and I didn't want to take notes while I was watching because that means looking away from the screen.
I've read a lot of stuff since then, and today someone had leaked. The audio, and I listened to it.
I can't even imagine. You listened to it?
No, it's not just room audio. Like, you can hear
the game
very clearly.
Yeah, but I can't imagine trying to piece that together from just listening
to it.
Sure,
but you have the person kind of talking you through it.
Yeah, for sure.
And based on that and everything else I've heard about it, it's surprisingly listenable.
Oh, cool. Maybe I'll listen to it
because
again.
I've heard it described by a lot of people at this point. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of
I apologize if my description was not adequate. It was really hard to recall everything, and I was getting really tired at that point in the day.
But I'm very excited about that. Although I believe the director on the game says he's really tired of people bringing up Siri, and I hope it's not a situation like Wario where they're not going to put her in out of spite.
I mean, I feel like that's
not Wario.
I feel like that's
Waluigi.
I feel like that's too tempting to leave out, even if you are spiteful for people asking about it. It's cool. We get it. It's cool. We're gonna do it. Just shut the fuck up. We're gonna do it. Just let us do it.
He might. Hate
I feel like that's
Witcher.
the attitude.
You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
He might hate The Witcher. You never know.
Maybe.
You never know.
You never know. But
I find that really exciting.
I'm very excited for Cyberpunk.
And we were here to talk about
Microsoft
and
we
stuff.
talked about most of the stuff leading up to
Square.
it.
I think a big failure of of the show overall was Square Enix. I feel like they had potential to talk about a lot of things that are very exciting, and they brought like none of them. There was no Final Fantasy VII remake. There was no Avengers game. Nope. You know, there was. I will say this: like Final Fantasy 16 tease, or like they could have done so much to make things exciting. Like, I don't know, maybe show a different Kingdom Hearts trailer at your own press conference.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's pretty. One thing I do think is unfortunate, because we're seeing so many games get out there and like start building hype really, really early, which, you know, is kind of bad in one way. Like, I know we're probably going to see Cyberpunk for another like at least one more E3,
probably, yeah.
At least, if not two, before that game ever actually hits. And, you know, I keep thinking to myself, like, because there was a bunch of people upset because, and myself included, when Rocksteady didn't announce their next game, and there was so much noise about that they actually felt compelled to comment on it and say, hey, we weren't ready to show it. But it's like, you may not be ready to show your game, but don't tell me you don't have something at least conceptual enough to like show a cinematic trailer and a title card. Like, also, like that's all Neo 2 was.
Fucking Bethesda shit out an Elder Scrolls card.
Like there really isn't much of an excuse why we didn't get a title card or a teaser with like the equivalent of Neo 2 for Respawn's new Star Wars game,
dude,
Rocksteady's new game,
last year,
and the Avengers
Nintendo
game.
was like, we're working on a Pokemon game. All right, later. Like, that's what fucking Nintendo did.
And you know what? And even though that was kind of shitty, like, it was still like it got me excited.
Where's Metroid Prime 4?
Yeah, that's
you know, like are you telling me a full year later they couldn't come up with a cinematic trailer?
No, in
a year they couldn't do a cinematic trailer.
Dude, that's
saying like, here, this is kind of look at this. This is kind of, you know, the tone
what we're going for.
The tone that we're going for. Here's the new Samus. You had a year to. They didn't even mention it.
All right, let me say this.
Where the fuck was Bayonetta 3?
Let me say this, because I think there's, and I saw this, somebody who works in the industry made some comment over the weekend about like how that, I forgot who it was. I'm sorry. They like loved like watching streamers and listening to like podcasts from people who aren't in the industry and stuff. But they were like, I cringe every time I hear someone talking about the industry who's not in the industry. And I will say this, like, we don't know how this shit works. We don't have insider knowledge necessarily. Like we only have the limited knowledge we have because we follow the industry pretty closely, and we do go to things like E3. But like outside of that, we don't know how development teams work. We don't know how these publishing decisions are made. So it's kind of hard to sit here.
We've been following this shit for like a couple of decades.
I did make a point-and-click adventure game a few years ago.
I mean, like, to me, I would find it hard to like swallow any excuse as to why they couldn't at least put together like a 30-second tease for any of these projects that we know exist. But there are also, in most cases, probably reasons for those things.
Well, the lame excuse that we always hear is like, oh, we're just focusing on the shit that's coming out soon. Like, come on, man. This is like your moment to get people excited to want to buy your system, not just, you know, the people who already own the system who are going to buy, you know, Octopath Traveler because it's the only fucking thing you're putting out on it.
Dude, the weirdest thing in E3 for me this year was the fact that, so historically speaking, Sony's booth has been massive with like tons of shit. They had 50 Spider-Man kiosks and a bunch of VR stuff.
Jesus.
That is it. Sorry, they had a demo for the Destiny 2 DLC and the Call of Duty multiplayer.
Really y'all didn't get out to Microsoft, did y'all?
No, in fact, I didn't even.
I heard they had indie stuff there, you know, like Ori.
I didn't even realize. I didn't even think about Microsoft until the last day when it was too late. And I was like, wait a second, I forgot. Where the fuck? I forgot Microsoft's. In my head, I was thinking Microsoft's just not here. They don't have a booth. And then I remember, like, oh wait, they're across the street at LA Live.
Wargroove was over there.
Fuck, dude, that's probably my biggest regret.
I would say y'all's biggest failing this year was I don't think y'all talked about like a single indie game.
Dude, I went to the Indiecade and you know I played. I walked around some interesting stuff, and I played.
And that's
I played Desert Child.
Desert Child,
which I thought looked conceptually really cool,
Crispy,
but
on the other hand,
I could not find or figure out how to fucking play that game, and there was nobody around to tell me how to do it, so I was lost.
How do you Desert Child?
I know.
You're in a desert. You just die slowly.
It was unfortunate. I do want to give a shout out to a couple. I mean, was there anything else y'all wanted to like that got y'all excited that we didn't talk about? I mean, for me, one of the highlights too was Control from Remedy.
Ultimately disappointing for me. E3 as an outsider. You know, maybe if I had seen Cyberpunk or something, I would have been a little excited.
Yeah, I bet that was cool.
Sekiro.
Dude, I did what I could, man. I did what I could. Like,
I'm excited that From Software's doing something
It was
new.
cutthroat trying to get into that fucking demo.
I know, you cut my throat.
And I was mad. I was fucking mad that Ubisoft had the balls to do another cinematic trailer for Beyond Good and Evil 2. If anyone has not earned the right to do another cinematic trailer, it's fucking Beyond Good and Evil 2. Okay, stop it. You don't have a game, so stop making these vibrant, like single player looking cinematics.
But Brad, they're gonna do a beta next year.
By the end of next year, we hope to have a beta.
After they've cleared the litigation.
Bitch, I guess we should start working on it, right?
I guess.
Right? If we want to play it, we need to start working on it, right?
They have a jetpack already.
I know the joke is that the game doesn't exist, but let's be real.
No, the joke is that we have to make it. So let's get to it.
They want everyone else in the world to, for free, contribute.
It's not for free.
What do you mean it's not for free?
They're compensating people for their stuff.
Yeah, it is, but I hear they are, but only what they use. It's all speculative work, which is that's kind of generated its own conversation.
First of all, I think
Joseph Gordon-Levitt got a lot of shit.
First of all, I do want to say I think it's kind of like saying they want people to make the game for them is bullshit. That's not what they're doing. They're giving people a chance to contribute art that is going to be used
for pennies on the dollar.
But the idea is that some people will be more interested in having their artwork featured in a game than getting money for it. And I know there could be an argument made that's cheating people out of getting people to do stuff for you for free, but you don't have to do it. It's just saying hey, we want people to have more of a hands-on effect on our game by having a piece of them be in the game, and that could be potentially cool enough that some people will just be like, "Oh yeah, that sounds amazing. I'll do that."
But I'm pretty sure that this is.
Oh no!
Because it's not plugged in.
But
no, it's not. Because
honestly,
you didn't plug it in when you got here today.
Ubisoft here, they're a multi-billion-dollar company or whatever the fuck, They're partnering with a fucking company that's offering up $50,000.
Their whole budget for payout is $50,000
really?
for everything.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's
for everything that they're going to pay out. The entire pool is $50,000.
That's not a lot of money.
It's not.
I think it's Ubisoft didn't want to fund this fucking game, and they go to Michelle and Sal and they're like, "Hey, you better get creative about how this shit's going to get made and funded."
He's tap dancing as fast as he can.
I'm just terrified for this thing because even if their big ambitious project, which these things never really come to fruition. I mean, look at Star Citizen and No Man's Sky and everything that ever wanted to have a
Stop. Hey. Hang on. Just hang on. Okay?
First of all,
the book isn't closed on No Man's Sky yet.
Is it even open?
I mean, to be fair, none of us have gone back and tried the game since it was dramatically improved, as far as I can tell. So let's stop throwing that game under the bus randomly.
You only have me to go on for that, and I'm telling you it's...
Well, they're already saying that this one is going to be multiplayer. You're going to play with friends, create your character, and you're going to fly out of the atmosphere and go all over the universe because that's Beyond Good and Evil.
That's not what they said, though. But...
No, that is what they've been fucking saying.
System. They said a solar system. That's a few planets.
It's just
that's different.
Even if they achieve their goal, in its best case scenario, it still doesn't really resemble Beyond Good and Evil 1 or 2. What they're doing with their cinematic trailers.
But Brad, Jade is in it.
Yeah, I guess she is. The cinematic trailer showed me. The ironic part is the thing so many years ago, all we got was that cinematic trailer.
Yep.
That teased Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Does it ever get exhausting being dead inside, Brad?
Hey,
I'm just saying.
There's a lot of things I saw at E3 that are really exciting.
For being dead on the inside, he's a pretty big asshole on the outside.
But that's not even...
But it's true. Look at that face. He knows it.
Anyways, let's move on.
The thing is, I pour my heart out about the little pinball game that could, and no one gives a shit.
What the fuck you, Brad? I said I'm excited to play it. Go fuck yourself.
And I also said it looked dope.
Yeah, Nick's gonna play.
I didn't say that, you son of a bitch. I said it looks dope. I don't have time to play everything under the sun. That's why we have
Nick's
4
gotta
people
play
here.
87
The point is,
Resident
people
Evil
pick and
games.
choose, and just
8.
because I'm shitting on the thing people's excited about doesn't
8.
mean I don't get
Nolan.
excited about things.
I have to play about 3.
Shut up! I don't want to hear any excuses. Yeah,
Okay.
He's throwing himself
You
under
made
the
the-
bus
All
on that
right, that was E3 2018.
one. Okay,
What was
well.
that? Wait, can we talk about Control for a second?
No.
Oh, God.
We need to get under control.
Yes.
Well, okay, you know what? No, never mind. It's gonna spiral out of control. Nick and I had a
You
slight
want to say it's
discussion
a
about it.
quantum conundrum theory? What is that game called?
Quantum Break?
Quantum Break
Break.
mod? Is that what you're gonna say?
No, but like, I think my big thing with that is what I was telling Nick was I really like the idea. I really like the ambition of the story.
Oh, combat.
But like, why is it a shooter?
Because that's what Remedy does, and I know that's
Like,
not
is
a
there a
reason
gun?
enough, but like that's what they've always done. Like every single game they've ever made has been
It
that,
just
and I don't.
seems so-
There's really no
I
reason
was
to
just
it.
wondering if anybody else
Would you be happy if
felt
she had a
strongly
sword?
enough about that.
Would you be happy if she had a sword and powers?
No, but like,
Instead of a gun and powers?
why is so what?
Because it's
What
a
the fuck
video
does that
game.
mean?
It's a video game.
Maybe
I mean,
the-
she has powers.
Maybe
you
it
wish
didn't-
she just had powers.
Maybe it didn't even need combat. But
Yeah,
who
I
knows?
mean,
Well, I mean, if it didn't need combat, then what even is it? Now
I
we're
mean,
just
I'm really
making up a
saying
video
more.
game.
I'm really saying, I guess maybe more focus on interesting powers than
Well, I think that
powers
stuff's in
that
there.
support just kind of like pretty standard third-person shooting gameplay.
Sure. And you know what? To be fair, I hope you're right. I hope they start to, as they start to peel the layers back on that game and show us more. I hope they do
I
focus
mean, it
on.
just looks like
what
I don't know. It
differentiates
looks
it.
interesting, and like they were name checking a lot of really weird things as far as like the narrative influence for this thing, and not a one of it ever made me think that's a shooter. You know. So I don't know why.
I don't know. I'm curious to see what this game ultimately is, because it may not even be as shooting heavy as you suspect. Like, it might just be more mind bendy, trippy shit. Like
I guess I was just wondering if anybody else was particularly struck by the trailer for that game, because I definitely was. And then getting in to see the game was kind of like, oh wow, like
Which that's kind of the attitude people had about Alan Wake at the time. It's also the attitude people had about Quantum Conundrum.
Quantum Break.
Quantum
God
Break.
Damn it, Brad.
Quantum Break. Time Cop.
All I'm saying is
You know,
that
it's like,
like
oh, it's
every
just kind of a shooter.
every project that Remedy has done, I have pretty much loved, and even if they are all various variations of third-person shooters, but God, I just had a thought and I completely. Oh no! So the reason I'm excited about it, despite the fact that it is yet another third-person shooter from them, is that it struck me. It kind of made me feel the same way I felt about The Evil Within, and that my favorite thing about The Evil Within, the reason why I love that game to death, is like, even though it is a third-person shooter, kind of like Resident Evil 4, like they're throwing mindfuck shit at you all the time, and like they do so many cool things with that. If they can just like really hit you hard with the mind bendy shit,
yeah.
then maybe the fact that they're falling back on the third-person shooting again might not feel quite as redundant.
I hope so.
So
I don't know. That's just one of the games I couldn't get out of my head from E3. I was just wondering if anyone had any strong opinions about it. It doesn't seem like anybody except for me and Nick really gives a shit. So
It's not so much that I don't give a shit.
I pardon for
Shit,
derailing.
it's more that just I don't really know enough yet.
That's not that odd. I just heard that conversation already when y'all did it on the podcast.
because
Yeah, but you guys
because he
weren't-
listened to our podcast.
You guys weren't like part of it.
No, I mean, I completely agree with you.
Okay.
I would like it to be more than just a shooter, but I also felt that way about Remedy's last two games.
Yeah.
Wait, last two. Are you
Break and Quantum Break and
Break and Wake.
Break and Wake.
Break and wake, buddy. Break and wake.
Break, Wake,
Yeah.
and Control.
Yeah.
Or
He-
Wake,
he-
Break,
here's
and
here's what
Control.
I will say. I think if this game does turn out to be what you're worried about it being,
Shit.
just kind of a shooter, like it's going to make, when they do inevitably do Alan Wake 2, it's going to make that game is going to suffer more from the redundancy than maybe Control is, because
That would be a good idea.
because Control to me also looks like, because Alan Wake is very mind fucky as well, but it is very heavily focused on shooting mechanics.
Yeah.
So if it's the same ratio of that in Control, then when they make Alan Wake 2, it's going to just kill kind of the momentum of Alan Wake, which would kind of suck.
You want to hear my quick 3 probably most excited coming out of E3?
Yes.
Okay. 5.
5? Go quickly.
The Vesperia remaster that has all the extra content that we never got. It's a lot more.
That was at the PS. That was at the Sony conference, right?
No, Microsoft.
Oh, you're right.
Devil May Cry 5.
Yep.
Cyberpunk.
Yp.
Fire Emblem. 3 Houses actually looks really like they're really doing a lot of stuff.
Then he changed it under his breath to 5.
And instead of saying Sekiro, I'm gonna throw it at Neo too.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are talking that up, but I really like Neo.
Dude,
Did you finish Neo?
I feel really bad for those guys. I bet they were just like really excited to get that out there, and then they saw Ghost of Tsushima and Sekiro coming out, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, finally Neo 2!" Ha ha.
Do you know what I think's gonna happen?
And then Neo 2's announced.
What if I feel bad for Tsushima, to be honest, because when they probably like started working on that, they're like, "Oh man, Samurai games, we're gonna do it.
Right.
It's exciting." But like at the end of the day, as amazing as that game looks, cinematic, it's gonna be big and open world. That combat is gonna be like compared to like Souls combat and Team Ninja combat. And as cool as it looks, you know it's not gonna play as good. You know it's not gonna be as deep. It's just not what they're good at.
But the story will be better than both those other competitors, I think. Probably.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean the combat.
Yeah, you're probably right.
The combat in Sekiro looked particularly fresh, like particularly tight.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be really rough for them, I think.
Yeah. In Neo is known for being, hey, it's a Souls game that has like even like deeper dope combat.
Guys,
you know, it's
I just really hope that Neo 2 goes and does something ambitious with like the structure, like the world structure. Like I hope it goes like interconnected levels. Like like instead of having like level based, because if it's just more level based shit, it's gonna.
But
feel
their
too
level design was really strong.
No, their level design was super tight and great, and I love Neo 1. But it also feels like maybe they did that way because of maybe it was a new IP and maybe they didn't have the budget to do a fully connected open world. If they just do the same structure again, it's gonna be like
the big hook with this one supposedly is the whole thing where you can like become a yokai.
Yeah.
So dude, what if they do something like fucking Legend of Zelda, you know, where there's like a light world and a dark world that you can like move between.
That would be dope.
That would be so cool.
That would be interesting. They could go in so many directions with that. I'm super excited. I hope Neo 2 doesn't get like lost in the hype of like all those other samurai and ninja games. Anyways,
it will.
Sure. Probably
but it'll still be good.
Nolan, do you have
Final
Patreon
thoughts?
stuff ready to go?
I do.
Or final thoughts about E3?
No, I'm good. I'm on E3.
All right, let's read questions.
First, we have some new patrons.
We do.
We have quite a few, actually.
Sweet.
So I don't remember exactly the last one we mentioned, so I'm just going to guess and say that Trinity Fox didn't get mentioned.
I don't think so. No.
If you did, well, you got mentioned again. We also have Daniel S.
Daniel S., thank you.
Hunden.
Wait, what is it?
Hunden.
Hunden?
Leslie.
Joshua
Joshua B.
B.
Sherika.
Sherika. Oh, okay.
And that's it.
All right. I don't remember which one it was, but there was one of those people was watching my Resident Evil 0 stream, and they were all trying to convince me to go buy some extra costumes
when
for
was
Rebecca.
Your stream?
On Monday.
That was the 19th.
Yeah.
That would have been Sherika then.
Sherika
became a patron on the 19th.
Sharika, actually. Oh, that's Skittles in chat.
Sorry, Skittles. Sharika.
So during my Resident Evil 0 stream, everybody was trying to get me to get extra costumes for Rebecca to go buy some, and I said I will only buy costumes if I get a new patron in the next couple minutes. And sure enough, boom, Skittles went and took the plunge. So I was like, well, I got to buy new costumes. So
Thanks,
I
Skittles.
did. So thank you very much, Skittles, for your support. Thank you to everyone who started supporting us on Patreon in the last week or two. We really appreciate it.
So, speaking of patron, let's get to some questions from our patrons. And we do have two of those new patrons ask questions.
Wonderful.
So, first one this week from Mr. Greentos. Have you ever suffered from muscle memory from the last game you played, and it messed you up in a current game's controls?
Yes, all the goddamn time.
It's especially hard when you're trying to like
when you're doing multiple games at the same time.
Going from and or to a Souls game while playing another action game is the worst.
Yep.
When certain games have like jump or like run on like a trigger or something. For me, it was going between Breath of the Wild and something on the PS4. I can't remember what it was, but I think it fucked me up hard.
Horizon.
It might have been Horizon.
Yeah, I think I had that exact same problem.
Fucked me up so hard
Also,
trying to play those games at the same time.
There was a period of time where I was playing Neo and I think Dark Souls 3 at the same time.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. That was
Yeah.
rough. But yeah, that's a pretty common occurrence, I'd say.
A good question, but
I
yes,
just had that this
it does
week
happen.
between Dying Light and Fallout 4.
Ooh.
You know where that often doesn't
fucking
happen?
terrible.
PC games. They're pretty much all the same. Next question from Sir Thomas Thipple. What's the best concert / live performance you've witnessed? Mine is probably when I saw Meshuggah in October 2016. Lighting was amazing. Everything was backlit. Couldn't see their faces. Baller as fuck. Light synced with music perfectly. Sound pummeled your body. Even if I was deaf, the experience would have been memorable. Last year at E3, Nick and I saw the Chainsmokers. The best part about that was it was at the end of the Bethesda conference, and they were like, "And don't go anywhere. The Chainsmokers are here."
And then everybody started dispersing.
The little platform kind of comes out, and they start like DJing and stuff, and literally like 300 people just walk away.
Yeah, because at the same time they opened up the funhouse for Evil Within 2.
Like everyone left.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt so bad. I had to pee though, so I was like, "Fuck this." And it took me like 20 minutes to find a bathroom. And then, I walked back, and there's still like 10 people watching the Chainsmokers.
Yeah. That was not the most memorable. I would have to say my most memorable, this is probably, if you follow me on Twitter, this is probably not a surprise to anybody, but I've seen Slipknot a couple times, and they put on a hell of a show, even after 20 years of performing, which is pretty great. And I've seen the Deftones a few times, and the Deftones always put on an awesome fucking show.
For me, it was one particularly good Trail of Dead show when I was in college, which I've seen multiple times, but this one, it was just the energy in the air was right that night.
There was I went to a really good Clap Your Hands Say Yeah show at Mohawk a couple years ago.
I love Clap Your Hands Say Yeah.
They're really good. That was a really fun show,
to.
and I was pretty drunk for that.
Yeah.
So that helped. I actually diffused a fight that night.
I thought you were about to say
I
bomb.
diffused a
I
fight.
joined a fight.
It was really cool. I felt really good.
I killed a guy with a mace.
That show that I went to with you in San Antonio years
Upon
ago.
a Burning Body?
Yeah, that one was
Yeah,
fun because
that
I
was
was
fun.
just fucking shithouse.
I know, it was so much
I
fun.
was so goddamn drunk at that show.
It was so much fun.
And then in 2009, I saw The Dead Weather at House of Blues in Orlando, and that was just a fucking beautiful show. And I remember specifically that I had seen the Black Keys at that same place like a week before, and I fucking hated it because the crowd there was just the
worst.
fucking
Dude,
worst.
crowds just lame ass crowds
Yeah.
can ruin a show. It's like the Andrew WK performance at the Bethesda conference. Wow, like the energy he was putting off versus the lack of energy of the people watching was astounding.
It's terrible.
Oh my god. I mean, I guess they were like kind of forced into it, and like everyone was like sitting down and like not really sure what they were watching, so I don't really blame them, I suppose. Yeah. But man, you can just get dead crowds like that anywhere. It's kind of a gamble, and those are the worst.
Yeah. This was not a dead crowd. It was just a bunch of
assholes,
drunk bros kind of crowd.
That's worse in a different way.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Next question from Joshua B., one of our new patrons.
Yeah.
As many of you have grown and changed occupations during your years podcasting, I feel you would understand this pain. Whether it is a new game, interesting game, or a sale, I find myself with far too many games and no free time to play them all. How do you resist buying more games, or do you just tell yourself you should grab it and you'll eventually play it later? I think it depends on the game, but often for me, I'll look at I'll look at all the games I currently have, and if there's a game that it's like, you know what, I don't immediately need to talk about that on the show, it will eventually go on sale for Steam for like $2.
Yeah.
Let me hold off, and I know I'll play, because it can be tough to especially when you buy a new game for like full price or something, and you play it for like an hour, and then it's like, it wasn't even that good, and I feel like it's a waste. So I definitely try to resist buying too many new games.
Is the Steam sale any good this year, or do Steam sales?
I haven't even looked at the
suck
Steam
now?
sales yet.
I haven't bothered either because
some good ones.
Steam sales suck these days.
There was a couple of things on my wish list I've been wanting that I saw went on sale.
I will say I'm trying to get better at resisting buying games, especially when I know my current stack of games is pretty big.
Yeah.
But I don't usually do really, really well at that. Usually just do it.
Yeah, I've kind of just made peace with the fact that I'm going to be writing my backlog to my grave.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, everyone's gonna have a backlog until the day they die. I think that's just the way it is nowadays.
Yeah.
But it's still. I mean, the thing is, I'd rather have a lot of shit to play than not anything to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if I know there's shit that I'm probably never gonna get to, or it's gonna be a long time before I get to it, it's kind of always exciting to have that stuff kind of just sitting on the horizon to play.
All right, moving on. Next question from Gonzo Lude. Let's say you were bathing in a hot tub, and you were allowed to
Bathing in a
invite
hot
a
tub.
male celebrity to join in on the fun and socialize. Who might that guy be?
First of all, bathing in a hot tub.
Like bathing. That's what it's referred to as. You're like
So not like-
soaking. Or
okay,
like, you're
so
not
not
taking
like
a bath.
washing
Yeah,
yourself,
you're just
but-
sitting in a hot tub.
Okay.
Nick.
Lounging in a
as
hot tub.
long as we're 5 feet apart because we're not gay. That was a reference to something.
What was that from?
That was like a Vine or.
Oh.
Do they have
Is that the one? Where, Oh, I love that Vine. That's pretty
Do
good.
they have to be alive?
feet apart 'cause they're not
I don't think so. He didn't
not
specify.
necessarily.
I mean, you mean while they're in the hot tub with you, or just?
Alan Tudyk.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
That'd be a good one.
This kind of goes hand in. It's like the same question of like if you could have a drink with someone at a bar. It's like the same thing, right?
Kind of.
Except it's just the added layer of like maybe awkwardness because you're sitting in a hot tub together.
Like maybe I'd want to get a drink at a bar with Meatloaf, but maybe not chill out in a hot tub with him.
Fair enough. Meatloaf, huh? Interesting.
Alive, John C. Reilly.
I think Prince might be the same
Reilly, yeah.
situation.
Dead, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Ooh.
yeah.
That's tough.
Jonah Falcon.
Ooh.
I'm sorry.
Ooh.
That was such. Oh my god, that was such a
7
good.
feet
That was
apart.
such a good throwback, Nolan. That was fantastic. Way to
man,
reach
who
and
else?
pull that out. That was great.
Please don't. That's
Oh, wait. Oh
inappropriate.
yeah.
Oh man, that's tough.
I feel like
Okay.
there's always someone I think of, and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm gonna know the answer to this late tonight.
what is his name? Why can't I think of words tonight?
I don't know.
From fucking everything.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans would be good. Yeah.
Dude, either one of those people would be fun to have like
Chris Hemsworth.
have a drink with or something.
Why am I blanking? Okay, 3 Billboards, not Woody Harrelson.
Oh, you're Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell.
you.
Thank you, Jesus. Oh yeah, Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell would be a good one.
Yeah, he'd be great.
The dude from Iron Man 2.
Yes, he's an Iron Man too.
Yes.
He is often a bad guy.
Justin Hammer.
The dude from
Yes,
Moon.
Yes.
The director of
I feel like
Warcraft.
I feel like there's an answer to this question
Scott
that I
Derrick?
always have. Like, there's always someone I'm like, that'd be really cool to sit down and have a drink with that person. But like,
Jeff
David
Bridges.
Bowie's son.
I feel like
Jeff Bridges.
Dwayne Johnson would be a fun person.
Ooh, yeah.
Dwayne Johnson would be a fun
Dwayne
person to
Johnson
hang out with.
Seems like such a nice guy.
He seems
right?
like he's delightful.
he seems like such a nice guy.
I feel like it would look really weird, like, because he's such like a big dude,
Yeah.
and like just me and him in a hot tub. It would look kind of awkward.
Vern Troyer.
Ooh, someone in chat said Jeff Goldblum.
Well, Jaeger did actually respond to that question. That was his answer. Alton Brown would be cool too. Yeah, I'm sure he'd be cooking something in the hot. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure he gets.
I have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's move on.
Fun question.
Donald Trump.
Fuck
oh
you.
God damn it! You had to ruin the show. Sorry. Next question.
Zero Skies. Since we had podcast 555 pass by, what's your favorite Daft Punk song? If you don't have one, let someone on the couch recommend a track you might
There's
like.
only one Daft Punk album that I've ever heard from start to finish. And I listen to it all the time. It's one of the one that came out a few years ago. Shit. Hold on. So if somebody has an answer to this question, please do.
I'm an LCD sound system kind of guy.
That's a tough question for me. I know
it's
a lot
the,
of Daft Punk songs by their like the
Random
music,
Access Memories is
their
the album.
music, but not the actual names of them.
Oh my god. I mean,
Yours isn't something from the Tron soundtrack?
Get
like
Lucky.
D-Rez?
I do like Get Lucky.
Dude,
Get
that
Lucky's
one
a-
is too fucking catchy.
I know.
I love it. God damn it.
Give Life Back to Music's a pretty good song too. I like.
I think
Technologic. I like Technologic.
I think my favorite stuff though is is like the 2007 Alive album when they they did the whole show that was just all like mashups.
Oh.
So it was like they were just mashing up two famous ones. So they did one that was Steam Machine and what was the other track? But it was so badass. It was so cool. It sounded like it belonged in the soundtrack of like the most awesome mech game ever.
Someone in chat says Robot Rock.
Robot Rock's
That
a
might
good
have been
song.
Human After All, or
Unless someone starts singing,
Yeah.
probably should move on.
So yeah,
Defunct. That's what it was.
Defunct's good. That's a good song
Scarecrow said,
too.
or Snowbro in chat says Defunk.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
All right, moving on.
Memory
Next
jog.
question from SMG Sterling. Does anyone have any post E3 rituals, habits, or ceremonies they go through after the busiest week in video games is over?
Post E3?
Yeah.
I have. Wait. I mean, that's really just. You know.
That's really crass, but I agree.
Honestly, for me, so if I go to E3, when I get back, play video games.
Yes,
because
totally.
even though you do play some while you're there, you play them for like all of like a couple of minutes each.
Yeah,
or
I was
whatever.
dying to get back and play
sitting
something.
down and actually getting to play a game. So since I was home all this E3, I didn't really have that because I got to play them while the show was going
Yeah.
on.
But did
yeah,
you play a
that's-
lot while E3 was happening?
Honestly, not that much.
I will say, so yeah, usually I'm Nolan's, but I usually try and play games when I get back from E3. This particular E3 happened a little bit differently because I got back and literally the day we arrived back, we ended up moving Robin's move-in date up a week. So like, she was like, "How would you feel about doing it like tomorrow?" And I was like, "All right, well there's my weekend." So it was moving all weekend. But normally I would just sit down and just not go outside and play video games for the entire weekend. I have a lot of pre-E3 rituals, like I get a haircut usually like the week before I go for whatever reason. It's like every year. Actually, we have a lot of rituals like when we get to E3, I guess, in LA.
yeah.
Like certain places we go to
My
eat.
big post E3 ritual is avoiding unpacking my suitcase for as long as possible.
Yeah. As you can see, I didn't fully unpack mine. I brought mine tonight because it's full of all the shit, all the equipment we took.
You get home after that and you're just like, fuck this.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving on. Next question from Skittles, new patron.
Skeetles.
This may have been done, but what game were you super hyped about that was leaked, but then you saw footage at E3 in a year, and it was a big letdown? There's definitely some. I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to
now.
remember.
About something
I gotta
that
remember what
leaked.
was actually leaked.
Or like
though.
leaked. You
I
heard
got
about-
an answer.
What's that?
I know it's.
You don't know what I'm going to say. It had been rumored for a long time, and then it was announced that it got canceled.
Oh,
Or you still don't know.
really? I don't.
No, you don't know.
Okay.
There was a Legacy of Kain game called Dead Sun, and when I heard about it, it was like, I can't believe they were making an actual single player Legacy of Kain game. Eventually we got a multiplayer thing, Nosgoth. But then like years later, footage of Dead Sun leaked, like 20 minutes of it, and it looked like shit.
Oh.
And I was like, you know what? Who gives a shit that this got canceled? I didn't want this to go in that direction anyways, because what the fuck was that? Yeah.
I guess one for me was Elder Scrolls Online. That was something I was kind of hyped about going into it, and then when I actually kind of saw how that game worked, I was like, never mind.
Yeah, that game, the way that game like looks, doesn't grab me the same way as like a traditional Elder Scrolls game does.
It's tough.
You know what? I'm going to say it. Star Wars 1313.
Ooh.
You were disappointed when you saw it?
I mean, I wasn't like, this looks like trash, but I was definitely very tempered.
That was another next gen, not before next gen was announced.
Right.
Did that demo that we saw at E3 that one year ever go out to the public?
Yeah.
Okay.
It did.
Because I'm about to say
Parts of it,
that
at
the
least.
demo that we saw, I remember.
But
now that I have something to compare it to, I feel like looked a lot like
to be honest,
Solo.
part of that was most of the fact, like, the demo is just like,
Uncharted.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like, dude runs up the cover, shoot, 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 run the next cover, shoot, 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 run the next cover, shoot, shoot,
Yeah.
shoot. Like, there wasn't anything to it. Like,
Because he had not gotten his bounty hunter armor yet.
yeah, well,
Yeah. I guess in retrospect, I can see why that'd be
a tough question,
disappointing.
yeah.
Also, we hate Star Wars time.
Well, anyway, that's all the questions from our patrons this week. Thank you to all of our patrons who asked questions.
Yep.
If you are a patron who donates $1 or more, every week we post a thread on patreon.com/4player where you can go and ask us any question you want.
Any fucking thing you want. So yeah, patreon.com/4player is where you'll find our Patreon. And now, let's wrap up the show as we always do. 4-player minute. Y'all know how this works. Hype, sweat, thank you, and fuck you. Brad, are you ready to go?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
I got 4 sweats this week.
4
For
sweats.
stuff that's
He's
coming
got
out
the
this year.
He's got the
I think
sweats.
I'll-
Do I
He's
need
got
to
the
get you a
meat
towel?
sweats.
He's so
First of
sweaty.
all, I'm worried that I think a lot of people are forgetting, but Monster Hunter World is launching on PC in the back half of the year.
come out on PC. Oh my god.
No, it's in the back half of the year, which is good because they're taking time to, I guess, make that good. I'm worried. My concern, my sweat, is that I might like get sucked back into that. I have not played a lot of games this year, but Monster Hunter is one. Despite having a child, is one that I spent a lot of time playing, like an unhealthy amount of time playing, and I'm worried that I'm just going to get sucked back in.
I'm pushing that regression off as long as I can.
It's going to look so beautiful on PC. Oh, man. My next sweat is for Valkyria Chronicles 4. It is a game. I love that first game, and it is a series that I like a whole lot. But my concerns are not only for the sales, because people seem way less hyped about this.
Sorry, which one was it?
Than I was hoping.
Valkyria.
Exactly. No, Valkyria
It
Chronicles 4.
certainly didn't seem that way at the convention, though.
Okay.
That's because they were getting one of those fucking
People
hats.
wanted a fucking hat, you dickwad. But secondly, it's obviously, my concerns about that it might be regressing dramatically because they're overreacting to fan feedback about the second game, which was mostly just about the tone and the fact that it was like an school academy, and it was basically like Naruto. But mechanically, system-wise, it was really cool. So I really hope that the game doesn't make the mistakes I think it's about to. My third sweat is for WarioWare Gold. That's coming out really soon. I'm excited about that, but people are forgetting that this thing exists. It's a new WarioWare game that is combining all of the WarioWare, it's WarioWare Twisted and WarioWare Touch.
So, Brad, when I was doing all these post E3 hype pre-orders, I saw WarioWare Gold.
WarioWare Gold.
Yeah. And I debated so hard if I want to get it.
Dude, it's not just
I know
favorites in the past. There's new stuff too.
I know what it is. When does it come out again?
Soon, right? It comes out the beginning of next month, I believe.
That's soon, a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think, yeah. And it's exciting because stuff it has WarioWare Twisted stuff in there, which is not only was a really cool WarioWare game. You can't emulate that because it had the gyro sensor in it. Yeah. So it's cool that it's coming back. Anyways, my final sweat is for Underworld Ascendant. I'm gonna say this is kind of like a fuck you too, because you guys tried this.
Are you talking about Underworld Ascension?
Yeah. Ascendant. What's it called?
Ascension.
Because you guys were like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And y'all were really dismissive, and it looked rough, whatever. But y'all were
we played it.
I know y'all played it, but it was. What frustrated me was that this, and you're like, why is Warren Spector working on this? And what even is this? But this is a spiritual successor to Ultima Underworld, which kickstarted the entire that was from the studio that eventually became Looking Glass, essentially, and Warren Spector worked on it. It eventually what started the entire genre of the what am I thinking of? Prey and Dishonored and Thief and what do we call that genre now?
What do we call that genre?
I don't know.
First person
immersive sims. Underworld Ascendant was the beginning of that. Ascension.
Well, okay. You weren't in the room with us, Brad.
No, I'm saying based on the podcast.
I know.
I know it looked rough, but I'm saying it was so dismissive. This.
It wasn't. We spent a long time talking to those guys, and that was at the end of the day too.
That was the last thing we played that day.
And they were actually one of the only developers that were ever like, hey, we're still working on this. What is your feedback? And we sat there and talked to them for a while about that.
Yeah.
About
Ascendant. I am right.
So this game is called Ascension. You're talking about a game that was already out, Ascendant.
No, this one's called Ascendant.
Is it?
Yes.
I guess. Yeah.
This is not necessarily
Underworld
the debate
Ascendant.
we need
It
to
doesn't
have.
matter.
Ultima Underworld was the old game that
we didn't spend a lot of time talking about it on the podcast, only because our specific experience of the game was
very rough.
I mean,
rough.
You talk about this being a successor to those old games. This felt like those old.
This game needed a.
This felt like
But that might
less
be
than
what
the
they're
original
like.
theme.
I'm saying that if you know the history, maybe that's what they're going for.
No,
I don't know.
Brad.
No,
this
but I
is-
mean,
this-
like
this
they
was
didn't
like
have production assets in the trailer and things like that, and it was difficult. I guess the reason why it was tough and why we shelved the conversation was because it was so difficult to tell what the difference was between they hadn't built this yet and they had built this wrong.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we just couldn't
This was
parse it out.
This was not a
Like what of it was like it was in such an early rough state. Like it's hard to say anything about the game because I don't know if it's just like a problem with how they built it or if like they literally just haven't gotten there yet. Like there was no sound in the game. Like there was stuff that there was like pretty basic stuff that was like
everything felt very
this
floaty.
isn't done.
Like
Like
I need
everything
to see
felt.
some footage of this.
I'm just Brad. I'm just telling you. Like I've been. This is like I don't remember how many E3s I've been to at this point, but like of all the demos I've played at E3, this one stands out as being one of the few where I could say like maybe you should have held this back for a year before showing it. Like this needed more time. This was like it didn't even feel fair like giving it a.
Well, what did they
This is
say
a
as
long
far as
ass
like a
4-player
timetable?
minute.
well, he said that once they were done, like the week after E3, they were gonna start to go back on like their first round of
polish,
polish.
which was,
Which I don't know what part of the development cycle that is, but it kind of sounds like we just put all the code in the game. Now we got to go back and put like a shit ton of more code in the game.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe that was why I was just behind closed doors. I
But
guess.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm
I mean,
saying.
this would not. If this had
it
been on
wasn't
the,
it wasn't an effective conversation because like the idea and the enthusiasm behind the idea was there and was really cool, but what we played was so like I mean like I was sitting there talking to him about like first person platforming, which seemed to be like kind of a big thing in like
You could wall
the
run in
area
this
that
game.
we were inhabiting and like having to move through like, and I was sitting there like talking to him just about like the basics of how like your character movement feels compared to like what you have to do with that movement, and I mean they were sitting there just like oh yeah oh cool like I mean it feels like they're still right in the middle of like developing the
like
thing.
figuring out what it
Yeah.
is for themselves even.
yeah
Which is why
It was
a
probably
sweat.
too early to make.
That's why it was a sweat.
yeah.
Yes,
But yeah.
I say if it came out in the state that it's in now, you should be worried. But I still
So
feel like they have a
I'm
lot
just
of work
saying
to do
that's
on it.
why our conversation was a little kind of just like we left it because it wasn't that we didn't care or we didn't get it or that we were being callous. It was that like it's just not in a state to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been eaten alive if it was on the floor as like a playable demo. Nolan?
Oh, it's been a minute already?
Yeah.
Man.
Still fucking.
All right, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype is for more Tale of Two Wastelands. I'm really excited to kind of wrap up what I've been doing in the capital, just trying to get a little more done there so I can go to the Mojave Desert. Excited to play more of that. My sweat is Octopath Traveler. Everything I've been hearing after this 3-hour demo has kind of got me a little worried about the game. We'll see what happens.
Don't listen to me.
I usually don't. My thank goes to Nick and Chris Davis for the shirt and the hat from E3. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Very much. My fuck you is going to go to Nintendo. And this specifically does revolve around Smash. I'm definitely in Brad's book on this, where I think that saying everyone's back is one thing. I would have preferred not having everyone back and having new characters. I think Nintendo has such a huge just like backlog. Just there's so many characters that they have and I was just like trying to like I mentioned like Phoenix Wright.
What if they did
Obviously like Advance Wars characters, like fucking Elite Beat Agent characters. You know, there's so many Tingle. Fucking put Tingle in there. I don't care. Just someone new, like some new people.
Put Solaire in there
No.
because now Dark Souls is on Switch.
I don't know
Do
if
it.
You know what? Fuck it.
Do it.
What
He
if
doesn't fit.
What if they had done the
More
exact same
swords.
thing they're
It's a
doing?
meme. Stop.
What if they had done this exact same concept, but they had like completely overhauled the way the game looked, and it was like super stylized or something instead of like the realistic?
Just
Would-
something. Like I don't know. Like I'm very. While I am excited that Snake is in the game, I'm
It's
just still
lukewarm excited.
it's mediocre. Like I'm gonna play it because whatever, but I'm not fucking excited for it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. That's it. That's my 4-player.
Fair enough. Crispy?
All right. So you may have forgotten because we haven't done a regular podcast in a while, but my 4-player minute is still being sponsored by Carlos.
I fucking knew.
So will stick around to the end of my 4-player minute because I'm giving away a free game. But for now, my hype this week is for Spider-Man. Comes up in a couple months. That's like kind of the next big thing on my horizon.
Wait, this is brought to you by Carlos?
No. No. I said stick around to the end of my 4-player
He's giving away
minute.
a free game, but is the game free?
The game is free. I don't know.
Probably.
We'll see. Spider-Man is my hype.
Hell
That
yeah.
demo at E3 was fucking dope.
Yep.
Can't wait to play this game. And it's like the next kind of immediate arrival.
It's the
I
next,
don't
like,
know. I
it's,
keep
for
hearing
me.
about this dive off the Empire State Building.
What?
I'm comparing it to Spider-Man 2.
This dive off the Empire State Building?
I don't know what you're talking about, Brad.
Yeah. It's about this swinging mechanics or something.
It felt amazing.
Why don't you go ahead and elaborate? Why don't you
I
finish
get-
bursting everybody's bubble?
Yeah.
As someone who's actually played the game,
It's a whole...
it feels...
Oh, I didn't know you played it.
Yeah, we both played it.
Dude,
It feels
we-
fucking amazing. The swinging
Oh,
is
that's all
easily the
funny.
best it's been in the entire series, I'd say.
Yeah. So what is this thing you're talking about?
There's a whole thread. You gotta look at the thread.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I think it had something
I
to do
feel
with
like- I feel like
the
Brad-
physics and like scripted animation.
This might sound harsh, but I feel like Brad
Brad
is to Reset Era what like my father is to like
Fox News?
Fox News.
Jesus.
My sweat is now the future, I guess. I don't know. Like, can't get excited about anything anymore. My fuck you to the week for the week. You know, I'm gonna give my fuck you to the week to this. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, there's like a new thing now where there's a group of people who claim that they are gathering financiers and producers together to shoot a remake of The Last Jedi.
Jesus Christ.
They want to write and shoot a remake to The Last Jedi, and it's.
I cannot wait to see this. I hope. I hope it happens.
It is a huge amount of effort, and if there's any validity to what they're saying at all, money going towards like the most asinine thing in the whole
By the way,
fucking world.
So are they saying they're gonna like pay the actors who were in the original movie to like?
No, I don't.
Because that's
I
never
don't-
going to happen.
I don't think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna shoot and produce a new Star Wars movie to replace The Last Jedi.
Yep.
Which, okay, whatever.
Ryan Johnson said go for it.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson was like, please, 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 please.
Yeah, because it's
Fuck those
fucking
guys.
insane. Like, because the
thing
its
is-
silliness is self-evident.
The thing is, Ryan Johnson wins either way.
Yeah, I mean,
either they make a
fucking
good
cares?
Star Wars movie or they make a shitty Star Wars movie, and no matter what, like it's like
dude, that guy.
Everybody
I
wins.
mean, I don't like whatever you think about that movie, which we don't need to have that conversation. But like, this is just peak asinine behavior. It
Worst
You know what?
fandom behavior I've ever seen.
We should shoot a new Jurassic World movie.
Yeah, we should. Now that's something I can give. Yeah, that shit's so fucking stupid. And my thank you this week goes to all of you, the viewers. Carlos would like for me to remind you that you can subscribe to his Patreon.
God damn.
At patreon.com/Edgar Allan Pone. And he would also like me to remind you that if he hits the $100 tier, he will stop streaming. And as a thank you to the community, he would like for me to give away a free copy of Owlboy. So that code, which I will now read, is...
Oh my God.
I'm going to read this in NATO phonetic, so, bear with me. But it's Victor, X-Ray, Beta, Mike...
Wait, that's cheating, Chris Davis.
Yeah, Chris Davis, stop it.
That's cheating. You can't do that. Sorry.
Tango, X-Ray, Romeo, 9-7, Juliet, India, Quebec, Yankee, X-Ray, Quebec. So, good luck.
Does he say what platform that's on?
I think it's a Steam code.
Well, yeah, obviously, it's Steam code.
All right, there
But
you go.
He actually didn't say.
A free
So,
copy of Owlboy. So unless I wonder if anybody was actually writing that down. If you,
whoever ends up getting it,
please let us know.
please at Carlos on Twitter. That's at Edgar Allan Pone, PWN.
Apparently,
Yes.
someone got it.
Someone got it? Holy shit! Who did it? You people like are always ready. They're just like waiting in the wings. Oh, J-Hit. J-Hit. Got it. Congratulations, J-Hit.
Congratulations. Enjoy that. Please send a tweet at Edgar Allan Poe on Twitter to let him know.
Watch J-Hit's like, I don't have Twitter.
And congratulations, J-Hit.
Congratulations. Cool. Thank you, Crispy and Carlos, for doing that. $100 tier. He'll stop streaming. You heard it here first.
So you never know. There might be more free games in the future. You'll
might
just have to
actually
listen.
drop that Patreon link in the link dump for this episode. Who knows? Anyways, my 4-player minute starts now. My hype, as you can probably tell, is for Resident Evil 2 Remake and just Resident Evil in general. I'm very excited at the prospect of going back to revisit all of these games in the series, whether it's a game I'm replaying, which is probably most of them, or a game that I either never finished, which in this case would be technically Resident Evil 6, because I only played one of the campaigns, and Resident Evil Revelations. I'm also excited at the prospect of maybe, now that I feel like Resident Evil is kind of back on course, maybe I'll be able to find some appreciation for some of the games I didn't like as much, like 5 and 6. Who knows? Point is, I'm very much looking forward to playing these games. It's such a cool series because every game is different for some reason, and I'm very much looking forward to playing all 8 of those games that I'm going to play again. So please join me on Monday nights for my series run of Resident Evil, and I'm also going to have all this kind of culminate in whenever on the day that Resident Evil 2 Remake comes out, I'm going to do like a marathon stream of it. So it's going to culminate in that. My thank you this week goes to Mr. Green Toast. I don't know if he's in chat right now, but it's funny. I tweeted, I guess Capcom posted something about a trailer for Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, that looks cool. I'm going to play this one day. And within a few minutes, I had a gift from Mr. Green Toast. He gifted it to me because it was on sale. So thank you very much, Mr. Green Toast. I promise you I will get around to playing that, and I'll probably do it on the stream. I'm going to be playing so much Capcom shit for the foreseeable future because I kind of want to go back and forth between Resident Evil and Devil May Cry, and maybe I'll throw in some Dragon's Dogma in there. It's all Capcom. Capcom's kind of killing it right now.
I was planning to do some Devil May Cry myself.
Sweet. Brad will be there'll be a lot of Capcom on the feed this year. I
was thinking about playing some Bontron.
Did I already say my sweat? No, I didn't.
No.
My sweat is Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. I'm going to see it on Sunday. I kind of hope I like it, but I'm not. I'm a little nervous. I'm also more nervous because I do want to do an episode of 4Player Plus where we talk about Jurassic World and maybe kind of roll it into a conversation about Jurassic World Evolution. I don't know who I'm going to end up talking to about this movie, but it's
maybe you'll just be shouting into the void.
Maybe I'll be shouting into the void about Jurassic World. I'll do a one-man show. I don't know. I've never done an actual one-man show. But I would love to talk to someone about it. Maybe Crispy. Maybe Chris Davis. We'll see what happens. Let's see. I'm just going to pick... I don't really have any fuck yous this week I can think of. I'll just do another hype. I'm hype for... Let's just go with oh, you know what? No, you know what? Fuck you, Amazon. Why the fuck can't I pre-order Sekiro? What's up with this? What's going on with Amazon's weird, like, you can't pre-order certain games but you can other games even though they have item listings for it? It's really bizarre. I don't know what's going on there, but fuck you. It's driving me nuts. Probably shouldn't be driving me nuts, but it is. Yeah, that's my 4-player minute, guys. And actually that concludes our show. Thank you so much for listening. Join us again next Thursday night. We'll be doing another episode, of course, and we'll be streaming every night in between now and then. You can find us on 4pp.tv. You can also find all of our podcast episodes and all of our E3 coverage at 4playernetwork.com and on our regular podcast feeds on the interwebs. Discord, please join us in Discord, discord.gg/4player. Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Cool.
Let's adjourn for the night. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.